In Douluo, all the goddesses collapse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. I actually traveled through time. Fuck, I actually traveled through time. This is not a joke, right? I clearly remember that I had watched dozens of episodes of the Douluo anime in one go, and I watched the ending in one go, and then I traveled through time after waking up. Or I traveled through time to the Douluo world. Okay, this is quite sudden, and I was not mentally prepared. Well, since I'm here, I will make the best of it. After a long day of ideological struggle, I also accepted this outrageous fact. It's just to travel through time, but what the hell is throwing me to this desolate mountain? Others who travel through time either start over from their mother's womb, or their souls travel to the bodies of the original inhabitants, and inherit the memories of the original bodies, and have powerful strength or a large family as a backing. Even if they don't have it, at least they have a place to stay and can develop. But what about me? An illegal resident. I have no martial spirit, and no soul power. How can I survive in this world? No, let alone survival. I don't know where I'm now, and I don't know if I can find a nearby town or city safely. However, fortunately, when I was in a panic, I awakened the golden finger Zhutian Diary System. Haha, as long as I write a diary, I can get rewards. Sure enough, those seniors didn't lie to me. As a person who likes to read novels and zangman since childhood, and even wrote a few fanfictions, I'm naturally familiar with such a system. But what makes me a little strange is that the Zhutian Diary System has something worth thinking about for the two words zangman. Could it be that this will also involve many zangman worlds? If so, I can only say good guy, it's really good. Ahem, I accidentally went a little far. Let's talk about the current situation. If I'm not mistaken, when I get this system, all the beauties in this Douluo Continent world who have more important roles, or are more beautiful will get a copy of this diary. Such as the 3 beauties of the Spirit Hall, the Pope Bibi Dong, Guyan Su, Hulina, or the 3 beauties of Shrek, Xiao Wu, Zhu Xing, Ning Rangrong, and other beauties such as Poseidon, Shubinga, Beichengxiang, etc. There are too many, and it is possible to have them. After all, there are basically no ugly women in the second dimension, not to mention the most popular Douluo Continent, where there are countless beauties. Although I don't know if I'm right, but the 3 beauties of the Spirit Hall and the 3 beauties of Shrek, I can guarantee that you must have them. So the beauties Donja, Zuxu, and Nana who are watching, I love you. As for the 3 beauties of Shrek, I love you too, but as a staunch supporter of Donja, my political slogan is down with Tang San, long live the Spirit Hall. Okay, after saying so much, everything is my guess now. I still don't know where the timeline is progressing now. The main reason is that the system only prompts me the current world, nothing else. I don't know if the double standard Tang San has awakened his martial soul, or if Xiao Wu, Zhu King, Rangrong, you have joined Shrek. If you not only joined Shrek Academy, but also reached the title of Douluo, it would be funny. Of course, according to the usual manual of the time traveler in the fanfiction, the system said that this is the Douluo 1 world, and it is impossible to progress the plot to that point. Otherwise there would be no point in sending me here. In short, you wait for a while, let me find the nearby towns and cities to inquire, and then talk to you about it, after I know the specific things. Oh, by the way, remind all the beauties who are reading my diary, especially the beautiful Donja and the beautiful Zuxu, don't mobilize your forces to find me. Although I support your plan, I'm also a person who is afraid of death. I will not expose my whereabouts, nor will I tell you my real name. After all, it is not an easy thing to survive in this world. Of course, if I'm strong enough and have the ability to protect myself, I will definitely take the initiative to find you. Why do you say that you are so beautiful? I don't have any little thoughts. It's all nonsense. I'm a normal man. So, I don't know if I'm lucky enough to get your favor. If I can, the more the better. Okay, the system says that the daily update of the diary must not be less than 1000 words. Now it's enough. Let's talk about it for the time being. I'm going to collect the reward first. My family, wish me good luck. Well, I almost forgot that there should be rewards for watching this diary copy, such as punching in and signing in. You can slowly explore it yourself, but don't forget it. If you don't, you will lose a lot. Don't blame me for not reminding you. After recording the diary, Wood Crossing left the panel and let out a long breath, and then communicated with the diary system expectantly. System, collect the reward. After Wood Crossing communicated with the diary system, a mechanical voice sounded in his mind the next second. Ding, the host has completed the first diary and received the reward of Martial Soul Awakening. Congratulations to the host. The Martial Soul Awakening is successful. The Martial Soul, the Heart of Origin, the innate soul power is level 30. Ding, since the host is writing a diary for the first time, an additional reward is received. Congratulations to the host. You have obtained a perfect soul ring of 10,000 years. As the sound ended, a ray of light sank into Wood Crossing's eyebrows in an instant, and then all the specific information about his own martial soul emerged. Hiss. After accepting the reward, Wood Crossing couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. He was completely shocked. A moment later, he was ecstatic. Wood Crossing was not shocked by the innate soul power of level 30, nor was he ecstatic because of the unlimited absorption of the perfect soul ring of 10,000 years, but because of the ability of the martial soul Heart of Origin. Heart of Origin can generate all the soul skills corresponding to the soul rings in the Douluo Continent animation. Woohoo, take off. Wood Crossing wanted to roar to the sky. My martial soul can actually release the soul skills of all the soul rings of the corresponding years in the anime. No wonder it is called the Heart of Origin, which is conceived and materialized from the original world. With such an exaggerated martial soul, who can compare with me? Just ask who else. Other soul masters only have 9 soul skills, even if they reach the title of Douluo, and even the twin martial souls only have 18 soul skills, but he has countless. Although releasing soul skills requires soul power, he has more changes. He is a complete hexagonal warrior without any shortcomings. It is no exaggeration to say that one person is a team. In addition, it can also be made to target the principle of mutual promotion and mutual restraint, and it is not a problem to achieve leapfrog battles. Make a fortune. Wood Crossing shouted in ecstasy in his heart, and it took a long time to calm down his excitement. For a moment, he even wanted to share the impulse of his martial soul in the diary panel, but he stopped in the end. Although his martial spirit is heaven-defying, it is far from invincible. Leaking his martial spirit is tantamount to adding an extra risk. If it is found by someone with ulterior motives through this feature, it will be more trouble than gain. It is better to leave this remote place first and find a place to stay. Wood Crossing collected his mind, looked around, and then identified a direction, and ran towards it. Now that he has some strength, his life is relatively guaranteed even in the Soul Beast Forest. When Wood Crossing was looking for the town, the entire Douluo Continent, the Spirit Hall, Shrek Academy, the Sea God Island, and even the important anime characters who are not in this world, all got a copy of Wood Crossing's diary. This book has many female protagonists. Please don't read if you don't like it. In addition, I ask for your support for the new book. Questions chat group. 45,801,978. Chapter 2 Bibi Dong exclusive. Wuhan City, Pope's Palace. A woman wearing a 9-curve purple gold crown and a golden long dress sat on the throne. The dazzling dress was shining with precious stones and inlaid with countless colored gems, which all set off her grace and luxury. The pair of slender legs stretched out from the dress, wrapped in grey stockings, without any flaws, like a work of art given by God, which made people obsessed at first sight. Although the woman's smooth arms were stretched out from her clothes and supported her perfect face, she looked lazy, but the invisible nobleness and sacredness revealed on her body made people feel like worshipping her. She was the current Pope of Wuhun Palace, Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong, who was listening to the reports from her subordinates below with her crystal clear and charming eyes slightly narrowed, Suddenly a voice sounded in her mind, which shocked her who was originally lazy, and the whole person stood up from the Pope's throne, and the terrifying momentum burst out, instantly filling the entire hall. Who is it? Bibi Dong shouted softly, her crystal eyes emitting a sharp light, and she looked around. The sudden change made the subordinate who was carefully reporting the intelligence startled, and he knelt on the ground, trembling with fear, not knowing why His Holiness the Pope was so angry. Such a change even scared Yu Guan and Gui Mei who were guarding on both sides of the throne, and they all looked at the Pope. Your Holiness? Bibi Dong did not speak, but scanned the entire hall, and then frowned slightly. She definitely did not hear the voice that sounded in her mind just now. At first, she thought someone was being presumptuous in front of her, but in the end, she did not find anything, which made her feel very strange. Although she is only at the 97th level of soul power now, she is confident that no one can enter her mind without knowing it, let alone not finding anything afterwards. Is it an illusion? Bibi Dong sneered. How could a strong person like her have such a ridiculous hallucination? Could it be that the voice came from the gods? After all, except for the gods in the upper realm, no one could do this, not even the peak Douluo. Ding, congratulations, you have obtained the Zhutian Diary. You can check it by silently reciting it in your heart. At this moment, another voice sounded in her mind, exactly the same as before, which made Bibi Dong startled again. If the first time might be a trance, but the second time Bibi Dong could be very sure that it came from her mind, without any signs, nor any soul power fluctuations. It just appeared suddenly. The fair and perfect face changed slightly. Bibi Dong looked at Yu Guan and Gui Mei beside her. Seeing that the two of them looked confused, they thought they could not hear the voice. You can leave. After a moment, Bibi Dong waved her hand and said to the subordinates in the hall, Yes, Your Holiness. The crowd, who were originally uneasy, heard the Pope's order and hurriedly responded, then left quickly. When the subordinates left, only Yu Guan and Gui Mei were left in the hall. You can also leave. Bibi Dong said again. Yes, Your Holiness. Yu Guan and Gui Mei looked at each other, feeling strange, but did not say anything. After answering respectfully, they also left the hall. After everyone left, Bibi Dong followed the voice she had just heard and silently said, Open the diary. In an instant, a ray of light shot out from her eyebrows, and a book appeared in front of her, emitting golden light, and floating in the air. Zhutian Diary? What is this? Looking at the 4 words on the book, Bibi Dong was very confused, but she still stretched out her slender hands, and flipped through it. Fuck, I actually traveled through time. Bibi Dong frowned when she saw the first line of words on it. She knew every word on it, but she didn't understand why they were put together. What the hell? What the hell? What does crossing mean? When Bibi Dong frowned and stared at the words, trying to understand their meaning, a golden light emerged from the font, and then reflected in her mind, making her understand instantly. This. After understanding the meaning of the words, Bibi Dong's sexy red lips slightly opened, and her face showed an incredible look. What the hell? Hell, it turned out to be the quintessence of another world. And crossing refers to crossing from one world to another, just like ascending to the realm of gods. No, it's even more magical than ascending to the realm of gods. Such an incredible thing. Even the usually calm Bibi Dong was shocked in her heart, mainly because it was too exaggerated. If the book was not really in front of her, she would not believe that there was such a weird thing in the world. With curiosity, Bibi Dong continued to read down, and when she saw the new word animation, she was stunned again. Fortunately, the annotation of this word appeared in her mind soon. How is it possible? Bibi Dong opened her eyes wide after understanding it, and cried out in shock. The world she was in was just an anim. It was created by another world. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This Pope does not believe it. Bibi Dong could not accept such a thing, nor did she believe it was so outrageous. How could she, a living person, be an anim created by another world? Not only Bibi Dong, but also many people who got the diary at this time, denied it after seeing it. She is who she is. She is the Supreme Pope, who controls the entire Wuhan Hall. How could she be disturbed by a few words from the owner of this so-called diary? With a skeptical attitude, Bibi Dong continued to read down. wanting to see what other shocking words the owner of the diary had. Zhutian Diary System? Just write a diary and you can get rewards? Bibi Dong's pupils shrank slightly, and she couldn't sit still after getting the vocabulary feedback. If the above is true, she dare not imagine what a terrifying opportunity this diary owner has. Titled Douluo? Become a god. These are simply a joke in front of the system. I have to find the owner of this diary. Bibi Dong immediately had this idea. If she could catch the other party, make friends with the other party, not to mention becoming a god, and ascending to the upper realm, it would not be a dream, to see the vast heavens. Thinking of the vast and colorful worlds, Bibi Dong felt a surge of excitement in her heart, which was an urgency she had never felt in a high position. Of course, this is all true, so it still needs to be confirmed. After calming down her inner waves, Bibi Dong browsed through it again. When she saw the owner of the diary clearly say the names of the many women, and said that she loved them, a chill spread across her pretty face, making the whole hall a little colder. I didn't expect the owner of the diary to be so frivolous. Not only was she thinking about herself, but she was also thinking about her daughter, mother and daughter plus master and apprentice. I'm afraid she hasn't tasted her own eternal wounds. This guy, because you are my staunch supporter, I will spare you for now. Although the owner of the diary was daring and audacious, the tone of admiration in his eyes made Bibi Dong decide to let him go. Continue reading. When she saw the other party shouting down with Tang San and long live the spirit hall, she, who should have touched Bibi Dong's heart, not only did she not smile, but she frowned. Who is Tang San? Why did you say down with Tang San? Could it be? Bibi Dong's heart cooled down. The smart girl roughly understood from these few words that this guy named Tang San might be her stumbling block. It seems that I not only have to find the owner of this diary, but also Tang San. Sure enough, the next words confirmed what Bibi Dong thought. The owner of the diary seemed to be able to predict the future in advance. Not only did he know her plan, but he also knew that those stumbling blocks could reach the title Douluo. Could it be that the world I live in is really created? At this time, Bibi Dong's heart was a little shaken, but she still couldn't believe it. After all, it was just one-sided words. Who knows if the other party is talking nonsense? Yuguan, gimme. Bibi Dong shouted softly to the outside of the hall, and two figures flashed in an instant. Yuguan and Gimme appeared in front of her. Your Majesty, what do you want? Yuguan and Gimme asked respectfully. Order it down, send 3,000 elites in the hall, and search the whole continent for the guy named Wuhun Palace. Bibi Dong was about to order Yuguan and Gimme to find the guy named Wuhun Crossing, and then ask them to come back respectfully, but her eyes accidentally saw the line of words below the diary, and she chuckled in an instant, with a charming smile on her face. The Pope smiled, and the grace was unparalleled, making Yuguan and Gimme who were waiting on the side stunned, and they couldn't help but look at each other. Since he ascended the throne, the Pope has been majestic in front of them, and has never smiled, let alone this sweet smile of knowing. What happened to the Pope? The two-titled Douluo fell into deep thought. It was already very strange that His Holiness the Pope suddenly burst out with momentum in front of everyone. Now he showed a long-lost smile, which was really incredible. Although Yuguan and Gui Mei were very confused, they both buried their thoughts and waited for the Pope's instructions. The reason why Bibi Dong laughed out loud was all because of what the owner of the diary said above. I won't tell you my real name. You may not know your real name. It has been printed on the cover of the diary. Interesting guy. Bibi Dong chuckled for a while and suddenly realized something. Her smiling face instantly restrained and restored her former majesty. I actually inadvertently showed a little woman's smile in front of my subordinates, which ruined my image for many years. It's all Wuhun Crossing's fault. Bibi Dong couldn't help but secretly shattered in her heart, as if she thought of something, and immediately said, you can see what's in front of me. Chapter 3 Shrek 3 Beauties. Soto City, Shrek Academy. The three Shrek beauties who were about to go to Xiandao Royal Academy were gathered together at this time, all with extremely surprised expressions on their faces. Xiao, Xing, have you all obtained the diary copy? Faced with the prompt that suddenly appeared in her mind, Ningrangrang hurriedly found Xiao and Zhu Xing, and asked without saying anything. Did you also get it? Xiao's eyes were full of surprise when she heard it. Just now, she was strolling in the academy with Tang San, enjoying the last time before leaving. The voice that suddenly came from her mind scared her a lot. She hurriedly wanted to tell Tang San about the situation she encountered, but she found that she couldn't open her mouth at all, as if there was a rule in the dark that restricted her from telling the diary to others. Not only that, she followed the voice in her mind and opened the diary. The book was clearly floating in front of her, but the third brother next to her seemed to be unable to see it, with an inexplicable look on his face. Now seeing Rangrang find her and casually talking about the diary, how could she not be surprised? Yes. Ning Rangrang nodded repeatedly, then silently opened the diary and said, "My diary is here, can you see it?" After saying that, Ning Rangrang looked at Xiao and Yuking hopefully. "I can see it." Looking at the diary floating in front of Ning Rangrang, Xiao nodded and then opened her diary. Zhu Yuking, who was silent on the side, saw that the two women had opened their diaries and also silently said a sentence in her heart. In an instant, 3 books emitting golden light appeared in front of her. "Sure enough, you have it too." Ning Rangrang covered her mouth and exclaimed, "What do you mean you have it too, Rangrang? What are you talking about?" After Ning Rangrang exclaimed, a voice came from behind her. Oscar ran forward curiously to ask, and behind him were Tang San, Damu Bei, and Mahanjan walking towards this side. "Oscar, can you stop making a fuss?" Seeing Oscar suddenly rushing out, Ning Rangrang frowned and said angrily. She was originally scared by the voice in her mind just now, and now Oscar shouted from behind. She was so angry. Seeing Rangrang's face sullen, Oscar scratched his head with a smile and replied apologetically, "Rangrang, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Oscar's expression and the words of apology showed that he was an old liquor. As Oscar apologized again and again, Tang San and his friends came to see the 3 women raising their hands in a strange way and asked, "Xiao Wu, what's wrong with you?" He had noticed something wrong when he and Xiao Wu were strolling around before, and now seeing Ning Rangrang and Zhu Yuking doing the same, he became even more curious. "Brother San, can't you see it?" Ning Rangrang asked after hearing it. What can't you see?" Tang San looked blankly at Ning Rangrang's empty hands that seemed to be holding something for him to see, with a puzzled look on his face. It's... Ning Rangrang wanted to answer, but a rule attacked her soul and made her unable to speak. "Rangrang, what are you talking about?" At this time, Damu Bei also looked at Ning Rangrang's actions suspiciously. "No, nothing." Ning Rangrang thought that it was indeed the case and shook her head and said, "We are talking about the girl's private affairs. You big men should not join in the fun." Several people were confused, and Tang San subconsciously looked at Xiao Wu, as if to confirm whether it was true. Seeing that the third brother looked over, Xiao Wu's face flushed slightly, and then said, "Well, third brother, we are talking about the girl's private affairs. You don't disturb us first." When Tang San saw Xiao Wu said so, a trace of embarrassment appeared on his face, and after saying so, he took Damu Bei and others away. Although Xiao Wu and Rangrang's behavior was very suspicious, since the 2 women said so, it was obvious that they didn't want them to participate, so they naturally couldn't stay here shamelessly. It seems that this diary can't be seen by the third brother except us. After Tang San and others left, Ning Rangrang said this. "Yeah." Xiao Wu nodded, agreeing with Ning Rangrang's opinion, and said, "I just don't know if what this guy named Wu Crossing said is true. It shouldn't be possible. There is no such magical thing in the world." The one who spoke was Zhu Yuking. She was always quiet and full of doubts about the things in the diary. Not to mention that they traveled from this world to another. They were still characters living in anime. Just talking about herself and Xiao Wu, Rangrang can reach the level of title Douluo in the future, which is outrageous. Title Douluo, that is an unattainable existence. There are not many people in the entire continent who can reach this level. Can they do it in the future? Although they are very talented, it is not so easy to reach the level of title Douluo. Otherwise, there would not be so many soul masters in the entire continent, but only a few, and those titled Douluo. Which one is not a genius among geniuses? But if it is not true, why did we get this diary, and why can only we see it? Xiao Wu raised her own question. She was also very suspicious of the diary that suddenly appeared in her mind, especially when Wu Crossing said that the third brother was double standard. She was a little angry because she understood this word. Why did he say that about the third brother? Although I don't know if it's nonsense, this Wu Crossing is definitely not a good person, a pervert. Ning Rangrang was indignant. Let's not talk about other things for now, but the frivolousness in the other party's words made her very unhappy. What do you mean by the more favors you can get from them? They are all little beauties, but they actually want all of them. What a joke. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking's faces changed slightly when they heard Ning Rangrang's words. They naturally knew that this guy named Wu Crossing not only teased the three beauties of the spirit hall, but also teased them and said he loved them. How could such a person make them feel good? Not to mention getting their favor. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the other party actually put them behind the three beauties of the spirit hall. Well, even if they are still young, they will feel a little emotional when they are put behind them without even meeting each other. Okay, let's not talk about this. Don't we need to verify whether the diary is real? He said something about clocking in at the end. Do we also have rewards? We will know after trying it. After a moment, Ning Rangrang thought of something and then said to Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking. Just now, he was only concerned with surprise and eager to find the two women to get verification and had not yet explored the diary function that the other party mentioned. Yeah. Hearing this, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking nodded and then turned the diary page to look for the clocking in and signing in that Wu Crossing mentioned. When facing such a novel and incredible diary, it may take some effort for one person to find these so-called diary functions, but when three people explore together, the speed is much faster, and soon they find the settings that Wu Crossing mentioned. Ding, check-in successful. Congratulations on getting 2x soul power training card X1. One day, Ning Rangrang ding. Check-in successful. Congratulations on getting 3x soul power training card X1. One day, Xiao Wuding. Check-in successful. Congratulations on getting perfect 10,000 year soul ring. X1 Zhu Zuking new book is launched. Please collect and comment. Chapter 4 Journal Rewards. What is this? Ning Rangrang took out the training card from the diary package and looked at the small card emitting golden light in her hand with a confused look. It seems to be something that accelerates the cultivation of soul power. There are annotations in the diary. Xiao Wu also had a card in her hand and looked at it carefully. Soul power training card, a card that can accelerate the cultivation of soul masters. You can use it by silently reciting it in your mind. It cannot be traded to others for the time being. The diary system must be upgraded to level 3 before it can be traded with any life that also has a copy of the diary. After understanding the function of the training card, Ning Rangrang's eyes widened instantly. If it is really as described above, it is definitely an item that soul masters can only encounter but not seek. After being surprised, Ning Rangrang didn't think much and immediately used this card to circulate the soul power in her body. In an instant, she felt that her soul power absorption was twice as fast as usual. It's actually true. Ning Rangrang said in disbelief after feeling the increase in soul power in her body. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking were also excited when they heard it. Rangrang, can that thing really accelerate the absorption of soul power? Yes, it's twice as fast as usual. Ning Rangrang nodded affirmatively. After getting the confirmation, the girls looked at each other and a thought came to their minds. Could it be that the diary was all true and it was not nonsense? Hey, Zuking, where is your award? Why didn't you take it out? After being shocked, Xiao Wu looked at Zhu Zuking and asked. Hearing this, Zhu Zuking shook her head and said, I can't take out the reward I got now. I need to reach level 40 in soul power. What reward requires level 40 soul power to take it out? Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang asked curiously. The two girls now believed most of the content described in the diary. A perfect 10,000 year soul ring. Zhu Zuking replied and then explained to the two girls in detail what perfection meant. After hearing Zhu Zuking's explanation, Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang were stunned. After a long time, Ning Rangrang said, Zuking, your luck is too good. She didn't expect that among the 3 people, her luck was the worst. She only got a 2x soul power training card, Xiao Wu got a 3x soul power training card, and ZHU King got a perfect 10,000 year soul ring. Doesn't this mean that when ZHU King's soul power reaches level 40, she can absorb this soul ring for her own use? Soul Sect has black 10,000 year soul rings. Such a thing is unheard of. Xiao Wu, who was standing aside, came to her senses and had different ideas. There was a little brilliance in her eyes. If there were such soul ring rewards, wouldn't everyone have to kill soul beasts to get soul rings in the future? As a soul beast, what she least wanted to see was humans killing soul beasts to take their soul rings. As for whether the perfect soul ring was real, she had no doubts. Rong had already proved that the training card was real, so how could she deceive them about the soul ring? It's okay. Looking at Rong's envious eyes, ZHU King replied with a blush. She didn't expect that she would be so lucky to get such a precious item. Ding, congratulations to the World of Youth song. Snow Moon Sword Fairy Li Hanai has obtained a realm promotion card. Golden Legend. One diary holder is randomly selected every day to receive it. Just as the 3 women were amazed at the perfect soul ring, a golden banner swept across the book panel, occupying most of the area. What's going on? The 3 women looked at it subconsciously, and after learning about the reward through the annotations, they were all shocked. Realm upgrade card. Use it to upgrade your current realm by 1 major realm. For example, if you are a level 35 soul master in your current world, you can directly upgrade to a level 45 soul sect. I thought Zhu King was lucky enough, but I didn't expect that the person above was even more exaggerated. Ning Rong said enviously. Fortunately, the person who received the reward was not in the same world as them, otherwise she would be jealous to death. I don't know how many people have a copy of the diary. If there are fewer people, according to the diary function, she will have a chance to get such a reward. Of course, this idea only passed for a moment. She now wants to find the owner of the diary. You have to know that the other party is in her world. As the daughter of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, she has been influenced by her since she was a child, and her mind is much more active than that of ordinary people. Since the diary system can select wood crossing, it must be extraordinary. If he can be brought to the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, it will definitely be a step up for the entire sect. Even if the other party's words are full of yearning for beautiful women, it doesn't matter. At most, she will marry him. There are many people who think like Ning Rong. After understanding the power of the diary, wood crossing is their first target. After all, he is the owner of the diary. They just follow behind to get some light. Of course, not everyone thinks so. Some women who are more indifferent by nature don't have this idea. Don't be envious, Rong. You are using the 2x training card now, don't waste it. After sighing, Xiao Wu thought that the training card is only for 1 day and immediately said to Ning Rong. Yeah. Ning Rong nodded and said, Xiao Wu, what about you? Don't use it now? I'll use it later. Xiao Wu shook her head. Rong's had already been used, which seemed a bit hasty, and hers could wait until she had enough time to use it. Well, I'll go back to my room first. Ning Rong responded as soon as she heard it. She also knew that this training card was hard to come by, and she didn't know if there would be any tomorrow, so she couldn't waste it. Not to mention what happened to the 3 Shrek beauties in the palace of the Heaven Dao Empire. Guyan Su roughly understood the matter of the diary copy at this moment, and immediately sent someone to contact the spirit hall to confirm the authenticity of the above, and to confirm whether the woman had also obtained the diary like herself. Is this world really created by another world? Guyan Su, who turned into Zhu King, watched the subordinates who had given orders leave, slowly came to the window, and looked into the distance. At first, she was also very surprised to get this diary, and after reading it, she was even more skeptical. But after careful exploration, she believed it most of the time, because she also got the reward for signing in the system. Slowly reaching out her hand, a golden card floated in her palm. Looking slowly, it was clearly seen on it, Spirit Fragment X1. Spirit Fragment. Collect 10 fragments to get an extra random spirit. This item is prohibited from trading. Having gained an extra martial soul, even though she was well educated, her heart was also stirred up by huge waves, because she knew that woman was a twin martial soul. Gently holding her bare hands, the golden card returned to the diary warehouse in Guyan Ringsu's mind. Sweeping across the dazzling scrolling banner, Guyan Ringsu murmured, "The world of youth song? In addition to the ascended god realm, there are actually so many worlds. Wood crossing. I'm looking forward to the day we meet." According to Guyan Ringsu's previous style, if such a person appeared, she would definitely mobilize her forces to search for Wood crossing throughout the continent, but seeing the other party's persuasion in the diary, she chose to follow the other party's meaning and leave a good impression. With the owner of the diary system, it is no problem to become powerful, and she only needs to wait quietly for the other party to find her. Chapter 5, Heaven-Defying Martial Spirit. While many women were groping for the diary copy, Wood Crossing didn't know how long he had walked, nor did he know if he could find a gathering place for humans in this direction. Seeing that it was about to get dark, and there were still towering trees everywhere, he slowly slowed down his pace. It seems that I can only sleep outdoors tonight. Wood Crossing looked around and sighed helplessly. He couldn't go on. He had to conserve his energy, otherwise he might be in danger of his life. Along the way, he knew that his current location was probably in the Soul Beast Forest. After all, he had encountered no less than 24 soul beasts. Whenever he met them, he either avoided them or took a detour to avoid conflicts. And if he was really targeted and couldn't get rid of them, he could only bite the bullet and fight. Fortunately, the strength of these soul beasts was not strong, and he could easily deal with them. But even so, he couldn't joke with his life and travel at night. Moreover, he was on the road for a long time, and he had not eaten any food or water for a whole day. His stomach began to growl. If he did not stop to rest, he would starve to death. Not to mention whether he would have enough physical strength to support him out of the forest. "This diary system, they sent me here without finding a better place," Wood Crossing complained, expressing his dissatisfaction, and then looked for a more suitable campsite for camping. Carefully exploring the surroundings, Wood Crossing originally planned to find a water source to solve his urgent thirst first, and then hunt a few small animals to fill his stomach. However, just as he was slowly approaching in one direction, a green mist suddenly appeared in front of him, as if it enveloped the surrounding environment, and he could not help but stop approaching. "What is this?" At a glance, Wood Crossing frowned when he saw a large area of forest filled with green mist. Obviously, there might be something fishy inside. These green mists were used to prevent other things from breaking in. The reason why he made such a judgment was that there were some animal bones on the ground around. The green mist is poisonous. Wood Crossing's eyes became a little more serious, but he began to think in his heart, should he go in and take a look? He didn't know whether the poisonous fog was formed naturally or by human factors. If it was formed naturally, according to his understanding of the Douluo anime, there should be some treasure inside. If it was man-made, it should be that the owner who created the poisonous fog did not want anyone to get close. After thinking again and again, Wood Crossing decided to go in. He didn't care too much about the treasures. He hoped that it was a human factor, so that he could understand his current position. As for whether he would offend the owner here, Wood Crossing also had his own considerations. With his familiarity with the plot, it should be easy to fool some natives. He still knew how to pull the flag and pretend to be a tiger. Of course, except for the ferocious soul beast, the only way was to run away. Thinking of this, Wood Crossing did not hesitate to surge with soul power, and a circle of black halo appeared under his feet, which was a 10,000-year soul ring. If a soul master saw it at this time, I'm afraid they would be blinded. The man in front of him only had one soul ring, and it was a black 10,000-year soul ring. First soul skill, Water Curtain. With a soft hum, a transparent fish martial spirit appeared behind Wood Crossing. When the 10,000-year soul ring flashed, a water curtain poured down, covering his entire body, just like the magic shield of the mage in the game One Blade 999 that he often saw in his previous life. Surrounded by the water curtain, Wood Crossing did not rush into the poisonous fog, but hummed again. First soul skill, Fire Shield. As the voice came out, the fish martial spirit behind Wood Crossing suddenly twisted, and then turned into the image of a soul beast spewing lava. Under the flashing of the 10,000-year soul ring, it added another layer of shield to Wuhun Crossing. The scene shown by Wuhun Crossing now is enough to confuse any soul master on the mainland. How can this guy have a different martial spirit? Wuhun Crossing is no longer surprised by the changes in his martial spirit. He noticed this when he fought with the soul beast before, which made him extremely ecstatic. His own origin heart is simply against the sky. Not only can he use any corresponding first soul skill, but he can also create an illusion for the soul master and even hide his trump card. He can casually say what kind of martial soul he is, and then use the soul skills of that martial soul. Just imagine, when he meets that double standard Tang San, he can disguise his martial soul as the Blue Silver Emperor. Your first soul skill is entangled, and I'm also entangled, but mine is still the entanglement of the 10,000-year soul ring. With the blessing of the soul ring year, the power is even more powerful. You use the clear sky hammer, and I also use the clear sky hammer, making the other party doubt life. Just think about the beautiful picture. He can't help but abuse Tang San, who always says you have a way to kill yourself. After releasing the flame cover, Wuhun Crossing did not feel safe and continued to release several soul skills. Without exception, they were all defensive soul skills, and without exception, the martial soul was constantly changing. There was no way. He finally crossed to the Douluo Continent, but he was sorry for his life. Wuhun Crossing, who had taken good protection, looked at first glance that his whole body was emitting colorful light, dazzling and dazzling, just like the gorgeous special effects that only Krypton Gold bosses in the game have. With the blessing of several defensive soul skills, Wuhun Crossing carefully approached the poisonous fog and found that the poisonous fog could not penetrate his tightly wrapped body, so he boldly walked in quickly. The thickness of the fog was about 10 meters, and Wuhun Crossing quickly went in. The scenery in front of him made him slightly bright. The surrounding trees were much sparser than outside, and the vision was greatly opened. I saw a mountain peak similar to a crater in the distance. Wuhun Crossing, who saw this scene, didn't have time to feel that the scenery was somewhat familiar. After thinking about it, combined with the diffuse poisonous fog, an idea flashed in his mind. Could it be that this is the sunset forest, and below the crater at the top of the mountain is the yin-yang eye of ice and fire? The thought flashed through Wuhun Crossing's heart, and in order to verify his guess, he quickly ran towards the distant mountain top. When he reached the top of the mountain and looked down, Wuhun Crossing was very excited. He suddenly saw a hot spring with two colors like Tekai in the center of the crater. It was really the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Wuhun Crossing quickly jumped down the steep stone wall and walked towards the center. As he got closer and closer to the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, his eyes became brighter and brighter because the surroundings were full of blooming fairy grass. So, at this time, Tang San had not been captured by Dugubo. Haha, I want this opportunity. Wuhun Crossing laughed in his heart and was indescribably happy at this moment. Although he didn't care much about the fairy grass, because of the diary system, he was very happy to be able to intercept Tang San's opportunity. Please vote, collect, and comment if you like this book. These are the author's motivation to write. In addition, I would like to emphasize that in the Soul Master competition in the anime, there are several Soul Masters with level 40 and 4 rings, so I don't have the setting of absorbing soul power to increase soul rings. Just like in the original work, Xiao Wu's mother was not killed by Bibi Dong, but in the anime, Chapter 6 Tang San takes the blame. Good morning, beauties. Did you miss me? Haha, I guess you definitely did. Wuhun Crossing, who had rested for a night, was very energetic. He didn't expect that he didn't suffer from insomnia because of the time travel. After happily storing all the fairy grass around the yin-yang eye of ice and fire into the diary warehouse, he opened the diary and wrote happily. When Wuhun Crossing finished writing the first line of words, the beauties who held the diary copies in various places and worlds received the prompts at the first time. Originally, many beauties were very interested in Wuhun Crossing. After hearing the prompts in their minds, they opened their own diary copies one after another. However, when they saw the first line of words in the diary, they all pouted. This guy's really shameless. He is so narcissistic. Although what the other party said is right, what they want to say is not the same as what the other party described. After secretly poo-pooing, the women looked down. They could see that the owner of the diary should be very happy at the moment. You must not know what kind of reward I got. It will scare you if I tell you. What reward? What reward did this guy get to make him so happy? In Shrek Academy, Xiao Wu tilted her head, very curious. In the spirit hall, Pope Bibi Dong sat in front of the dressing table, carefully reading Wuhun diary today. Seeing the other party's boastful tone, she smiled slightly. Such a man is easy to control at first glance, without a trace of scheming. This is very good news for Bibi Dong. As long as she sees the other party, she has enough confidence to make the other party willing to work for her. As for the reward Wuhun mentioned, Bibi Dong didn't take it too seriously. Through yesterday's diary punching, the rewards she got, and the rewards Nana got, although they are all rare items, they are not so exaggerated that they can scare her as a 97th level titled Douluo. Even the realm card obtained by the woman named Snow Moon Sword Fairy Li Hanai in the so-called youth song world did not scare her. At most she was a little amazed. With this thought in mind, Bibi Dong looked down calmly, but the next second she realized that she was wrong, and she was wrong. I got a heaven-defying martial spirit yesterday, but I won't reveal the information about this martial spirit to you, so as not to make you worry about it, but I can tell you one thing, the martial spirit I got comes with an innate soul power of level 30. How about it? Did it scare you? What? Innate soul power level 30? How is it possible? Seeing the innate soul power level 30, the women in other worlds did not react much. After all, the cultivation systems between the two were different, but the women in Douluo Continent were different. It was like throwing a heavy bomb in their minds. Even the very few women who knew that the innate full soul power was not only level 10 also stared with unbelievable eyes. Innate soul power level 30? Isn't the highest level only 10? How can there be 30 levels? Ningrangrong, Bei Chengxiang, Shubinger, Huo Wu and others who were looking at the diary were shocked. They had worked hard to cultivate and accumulated for many days and months to reach the level of soul venerable. Looking at each other, they had awakened to the 30th level of soul power. Isn't this cheating? Diary system, I want to report, someone is cheating. Oh, it turns out that he is the owner of the diary, then it's okay. Bibi Dong, Guyan Su, and Poseidon who was far away on the sea god island were also shocked at this time. Only those who understand know what the concept of innate soul power at level 30 is. For example, the soul master with innate soul power level 10 and innate soul power level 9. Although the difference between the two is one level, the gap will become larger and larger with time of cultivation, and the final achievement will be a world of difference. A soul master with innate soul power level 10 only needs to practice step by step. It is basically no problem to reach soul saint in his lifetime. It is not impossible to reach a better soul Douluo or even a titled Douluo. But if it is only a soul master with innate soul power level 9, it is as difficult as ascending to heaven to reach soul emperor. This shows how big the gap in innate soul power is. The talent is there. As for Guyan Su, whose innate soul power is level 20 when she awakens, everyone knows that reaching the title of Douluo is a foregone conclusion. It is just a matter of time. If nothing unexpected happens, it is not a problem for her to reach the peak of Douluo, and she can even impact the god test and ascend to the upper realm. What does Wuhun's innate soul power level 30 mean now? It means that he can easily reach the title of Douluo. It means that it won't take long for him to catch up with them, and it means that the other party will definitely be able to ascend to the upper realm. No wonder you say that. It's really amazing. Guyan Su sat at the table in the study and sighed softly. She didn't feel jealous, because Wuhun's innate soul power level 30 exceeded hers. Instead, she was looking forward to the day when she met Wuhun. This day might not be long. In addition to the diary reward of the European Emperor, I didn't expect my luck to be so good. I got some extra treasures. These treasures may not be so important to me, but they are definitely treasures for you. Guess what they are? Yes, it is some immortal grass, which can strengthen the foundation and improve the soul power level, and can also evolve the martial spirit. Do you think it is amazing? Actually, I also think it is amazing. You don't even know what immortal grass is. Even the title Douluo don't know the wonderful use of immortal grass. It's just a bargain for the double standard Tang San. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. I even suspect that you have chosen the wrong skill tree, or your collective intelligence has been reduced. Otherwise, how could such a good thing not even be understood by the titled Douluo? I'm not talking nonsense, but I have a basis, because the great poison Douluo Dugubo has a treasure mountain without knowing it. He really should be dragged out and flicked a little JJ 100 times. It's too embarrassing for the titled Douluo. His knowledge is not as high as that of a grandson. Du Guyan, are you reading the diary? If you are reading it, please ignore the second half of my sentence above. In Xiandao Royal Academy, Du Guyan, who was taking a theory class in the morning, but secretly reading his diary, subconsciously slapped the table hard when he saw this, and stood up and cursed, "Asshole." The sudden roar scared the instructor who was teaching on the podium with the textbook, and the book fell to the ground. The students who were listening carefully almost fell off their chairs, and the students who were close to Du Guyan had their eardrums shattered. Student Du Guyan, do you think there's something wrong with what the instructor said? The instructor, who had recovered from his shock, looked at Du Guyan with an unhappy face, and said in a slightly angry tone, "If you really think that what the teacher said is wrong, you can just point it out instead of swearing." Ah. Hearing the teacher's shout, Du Guyan only reacted at this time, and explained repeatedly with a flushed face, "That old teacher, I am not scolding you, I'm scolding. Due to nervousness, and because of the diary copy, Du Guyan was speechless for a moment, but looking at the teacher's suspicious eyes, he finally gritted his teeth and said, "Teacher, I was scolding Tang San. Yes, Tang San." Tang San? Chapter 7, Review of Double Standard Tang San. Immortal grass? What kind of immortal grass? Can those immortal grasses improve the level of soul power? Can they also evolve martial spirits? Many Douluo women, hearing Wu Crossing's explanation, all had bright eyes and showed eager eyes. Even Bibi Dong was no exception. There are such natural treasures in the world. She didn't even know. According to Wu Crossing, if the immortal grass is effective, its value is absolutely inestimable. But now all these immortal grasses belong to me, and I can't let Tang San, that double standard dog, get away with it. Speaking of Tang San, that double standard dog, beautiful Donja, you have to thank me well, and it's best if you marry me. I can solve a huge problem for you. Without the assistance of immortal grass, Tang San, I dare not say anything else, but at least he didn't grow up so quickly. You may find it strange that I, a time traveler who just arrived in this Douluo Continent, and is unfamiliar with the place, have such great malice towards Tang San. I tell you, this guy is a hypocritical villain. Perhaps, the three Shrek beauties are very angry when they see this, especially Xiao Wu who has been with Tang San for so long, but I still want to say that I did not slander him. This guy, in my original world, was a rat crossing the street, and everyone shouted and beat him. As the son of destiny, the things he did were shameful. Before crossing over, he was a thief who stole the secret scrolls of the sect. After crossing over, he said one thing, saying some righteous words, but behind the scenes, he was doing another, stealing chickens and dogs, and doing everything he could. Moreover, this person has a sinister personality, and he will take revenge for any slight, and he has the ultimate double standard. What he likes is right no matter how he does it, and what he doesn't like, even if everyone thinks it is a matter of course, is wrong. For example, when killing soul beasts to obtain soul rings, he said that the soul beasts he killed were all vicious, but when he was restoring his blue silver grass soul ring, I don't know how many he killed. He even killed a lot in order to get a few soul bones, and he killed happily in front of Xiao Wu. He is upright for obtaining soul bones, but the spirit hall cannot do this. Isn't this obviously double standard? Besides, is it him who decides whether soul beasts are good or bad? Soul beasts are the prey of the weak, and they are also trying to survive. If they really want to be vicious, then why do you eat meat? Those vegetarian animals didn't hurt you, did you? You take them as food. This is just one of them. In addition, this guy, I can hurt you, but you can't hit my people. How can there be such a reason in the world? There are too many. I don't want to give examples one by one, lest someone say that I'm mean-spirited. It's all his behavior, which really makes me unbearable. It's fine if you don't say it. Everyone is the same. But you are both a whore and a saint. Pure and disgusting. Okay, let's not talk about this disgusting guy. Let's get back to the topic. If you want these fairy herbs, you can buy them from me when we meet in the future, and I will sell them to you. Of course, each person is limited to one plant, no more. After all, we are all my pen pals, and I can't favor one over the other. I won't sell it too expensive. The friendship price is 100,000 gold coins. Don't think this price is expensive. In the anime, this fairy grass can evolve martial spirits, and can make the 7 treasures glazed martial spirit evolve into the 9 treasures glazed. Ning Fengzi is willing to spend 1 million to buy it. I've already discounted it. It doesn't matter if you don't have money. Support the promise of body. I'll give you one for free. This lecher, a big pervert. Seeing this, all the women gave a fierce pah. This guy's really an animal who thinks about his lower body, and he can't stop talking about women. But compared to Tang San's double standards, the owner of the diary in front of him is still very open. At least they look very gentlemanly. The most fearful thing is that the gentleman appears to be modest on the surface, but has dirty thoughts behind the scenes. At this moment, many women who had the diary copy remembered Tang San and felt disgusted with him. At this time, Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrong, and Zhu Zuking from Shrek Academy all changed their faces when they saw this, especially Xiao Wu, who felt it was hard to let go. Could it be that Brother Sun was really such a person? When Xiao Wu was thinking about Tang San's behavior with a pale face, Ning Rangrong and Zhu Zuking looked at her carefully, not knowing how to comfort her. They all knew that Xiao Wu had the best relationship with Tang San, and now that the owner of the diary had exposed such a thing, she must be very uncomfortable. To be honest, they still had a good impression of Tang San, and their usual behavior was also very decent. If it weren't for the diary copy revealing that the other party was double standard, perhaps they would be best friends and teammates in the future. But now, the two women couldn't help but start to doubt because of Wuhun Crossing's diary description. Could it be that he was hiding himself? Although the few words in the diary did not affect their judgment, they also unknowingly planted a seed of vigilance. After all, they had never met the other party, and there was no need to slander the other party with the diary. What good would it do him? Tang San didn't know that his image in Ning Rangrong and Zhu Zuking's hearts had become somewhat shattered. If they knew, they would definitely say, Wuhun Crossing, you have already found a way to die. Xiao Wu had been with Tang San for the longest time, and scenes of experience emerged from her mind. She didn't think much of it before. As the saying goes, those who are involved are confused, and those who are on the sidelines are clear. Under Wuhun Crossing's exaggeration, she realized that some of them were just as he said. I remember that, when I first participated in the doubles competition in the fighting spirit field, I met a twin. I seemed to have hurt one of the opponents. The third brother said, not to hit so hard, but when I was accidentally injured by the opponent, I was furious, and used a hidden weapon without hesitation, and almost killed the two people directly. In the end, I learned that I was fine, so I changed my face again, and praised my opponent like a gentleman. Thinking of this, her face became even paler, and her whole body began to tremble slightly. Xiao Wu, don't worry about it. Who knows if that guy said it on purpose too. So discord between you and Tang, third brother. Seeing Xiao Wu's trembling body, Ning Rangrong and Zhu Zuking on the side looked at each other and hurriedly comforted her. Hearing Ning Rangrong and Zhu Zuking's comfort, Xiao Wu turned around, shook her head with a wry smile, but said nothing. She would judge for herself, but the more she judged, the more she felt that it was as the owner of the diary said, so she acted like this. If it didn't match at all, she would have been angry and scolded that guy Wuhun Crossing. In addition to the 3 Shrek beauties, the other woman who had a copy of the diary was even more difficult to calm down. Her beautiful face had already lost all color. She was a yin in the Pure Land world. Sana, he came from another world. He is not his son. Was his original son taken over by the other party and inherited his body? Or was he replaced by another thief who violated the sect's rules? At this moment, even Ah Yin, who had always been calm and pure, could not accept it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8, Shy and Our Royal Academy Team 2. Through this fairy grass, I already know where I am. If nothing unexpected happens next, I should be able to leave here and find the gathering place of humans soon. I don't know who will be the first person I meet after finding the gathering place of humans. I'm still looking forward to it. But for my safety, I will not expose myself for the time being, so you don't have to get too excited. Bah, this guy, who is excited, he really thinks he is a delicious bun. Seeing Wood Crossing's teasing tone change, the girls made a mouthful of hypocrisy again. Well, according to the effect of the fairy grass, this guy said, the other party is indeed a delicious bun. They are very jealous. After all, it is a natural treasure that can greatly improve the soul power level and even evolve the martial soul. Who would not be tempted? Okay, I will write the diary here first, and I don't know what good things I will get today. Beautiful ladies, lend me some luck. Let me be possessed by the Emperor of Europe again, and we can meet sooner. See you tomorrow. I love you. Haha. After Wu Zingshu finished writing the last sentence, he happily took back the panel. He felt indescribably happy. Such a day was really good. He could get rewards by writing a diary, and he could also tease those beauties. Thinking of their wide-eyed looks when looking at the diary, Wood Crossing found it very interesting. This diary system thought that he didn't know its routine. He had read at least 800 diary novels, if not 1,000. He still wanted to dig a hole for him, but it was impossible. With a smug mood, Wood Crossing, who looked like he had seen through the true face of this system, communicated, "System, receive the reward." Ding, detected that the host completed a diary and received a reward of 20,000 year perfect soul ring x1. Huh, that's it? After hearing the reward given by the system, Wood Crossing waited for a long time, and there was no sound from the system, and he was stunned instantly. Is the 20,000 year perfect soul ring fragrant? It is fragrant, but compared with yesterday's reward, it is a world of difference, so he was naturally very disappointed. Could it be that this system saw that he got too many immortal herbs, so the reward was perfunctory? Wood Crossing greeted the system fiercely in his heart, but unfortunately he didn't get any response, so he had to give up. 20,000 years is a 20,000 year perfect spirit ring, just in time for me to use it now. Seeing that the system didn't respond, Wood Crossing reluctantly began to absorb the spirit ring. The perfect spirit ring is worthy of being a perfect spirit ring, and the absorption speed is very fast. It was absorbed in the blink of an eye. Looking at the second spirit ring emitting black light that appeared under his feet, Wood Crossing was a little high-spirited. He was probably the only spirit master who started with a 10,000 year spirit ring, right? Concentrating his mind, Wood Crossing walked down the mountain, passed through the dense poisonous fog, and rushed in a direction again. With the second spirit ring, his strength has increased a lot. While his safety has increased again, his speed has also increased a lot. However, he originally thought that he could get out of the Sunset Forest quickly, but he didn't find a way out in the next 2 days, which made him very crazy. For this reason, he also complained a lot to the beauties in the diary copy. Without any map, in this huge forest, even if you identify a direction, it is difficult to get out. If I had known, I should have stayed at the Yin Yang Eye of Ice and Fire, and waited for Douluo to come in. After another half day of rushing, Wood Crossing stopped to rest, and didn't have time to complain, but now he was asked to return the same way, and he was unwilling to do so. Just when Wood Crossing was considering whether to walk all the way to the dark or return the same way, suddenly a series of light sounds came from a distance, making him stand up suddenly from the ground. After listening carefully for a while, his face suddenly became ecstatic. Although the sound was very light and far away, it was obviously the sound of fighting, and even faintly mixed with shouting. Someone! Wood Crossing shouted happily, and then rushed to the source of the sound without any hesitation. As the sound became louder and louder, Wood Crossing became more and more happy. He was not wrong. It was indeed the sound of fighting. When he got closer, he burst into tears. It was not easy, not easy. It took 3 whole days to come to this world and see his own kind for 3 days. You can imagine how he felt at the moment. Wuhun, who came to the fighting place, saw the scene in front of him and immediately stood aside quietly. This was a small team. It should be a teacher from a certain academy who brought his students to the Sunset Forest to hunt soul beasts and obtain soul rings. As for why he thought so, it was because all these people were wearing the same clothes. Even the man standing by the side who looked older was wearing similar clothes, which showed the clues. When Wuhun arrived, the middle-aged man who did not take action noticed it at the first time. He frowned slightly and scanned Wuhun with his sharp eyes. He seemed not to feel the threat from him, so he did not say anything. Then he looked back at the students in the battle. In the field was a huge wood-type soul beast that looked like a plant. 6 students wearing the same clothes were fighting with it seriously. Various soul skills were bombarded on the soul beast one after another, and the soul beast was beaten back step by step. Obviously, it was only a matter of time for the soul beast to lose. Among the 6 students, there were both male and female, 5 males and only 1 female. Wuhun did not interrupt them, but just watched quietly. However, as the battle progressed, Wuhun gradually fell into deep thought while looking at the female student. Don't get me wrong, he was not attracted by her beauty. Although the female student was very beautiful, probably in her early 20s, she looked like a queen, which was in line with his aesthetic taste, but it was not because of this. He felt that the beautiful student was a little familiar, as if he had seen her in anime. Second soul skill, lingering music. The female student snorted lightly, and then the second yellow soul ring on her body flashed a bright light and then enveloped the team members. In an instant, the other 5 teammates emitted a faint glow. It's her. Looking at the Yaokin in the female student's hand, and then watching the way she used her soul skills, Wuhun suddenly thought of something. No wonder he felt familiar. It turned out that these people were from Xiandao Royal Academy. That's right, they are the students of Xiandao Royal Academy, the members of Team 2 who were defeated by Shrek Academy in 1 minute in the anime. I didn't expect to be so lucky. I actually met a minor character in the plot. Wuhun said secretly in his heart. He was lucky. First, he broke into the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, and now he met the students of Xiandao Royal Academy. When he was watching the anime, he felt particularly sorry for the female auxiliary musician of Team 2 of Xiandao. After all, he was a man who followed his heart. Although appearance did not absolutely represent justice in his eyes, it was not much different. And this female musician, whether it was her appearance or her figure, grew on his heart. Although she only showed her face for 1 minute, she made him remember it in his heart, so he had a familiar feeling. Ask, has anyone watched it? Chapter 9, Acquaintance. With the blessing of the female assistant soul master's piano music, the students of Xiandao Team 2 received many attribute bonuses. The soul beast, which was already exhausted, fell to the ground soon. After the soul beast fell, the middle-aged teacher told one of the students to absorb the soul ring on the spot, and then slowly looked at Wuhun and asked bluntly, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" It is not uncommon to meet other soul masters in the soul beast forest, but under normal circumstances, most soul masters will leave on their own after meeting each other to avoid misunderstandings. It is actually very impolite for Wuhun to stay here. If he had not noticed that the other party's soul power was only at the soul master stage, the middle-aged instructor would have expelled him long ago. I'm the origin. I accidentally got lost. I hope the senior can point out the way out. Wuhun bowed his hands and said sincerely. When he heard Wuhun's answer, the middle-aged instructor was stunned. He never thought that the man in front of him was actually lost in the sunset's forest. He opened his mouth for a while and didn't know what to say. The main reason is that it is too weird. How can you get lost in the sunset forest? After hearing Wuhun's answer, several students who came over looked at each other, and all of them had strange looks on their faces. One of the male students even laughed out loud. Facing the expressions of the crowd, Wuhun was not embarrassed. He stood quietly by the side. He told the truth. There was nothing to be embarrassed about. The middle-aged instructor pondered for a moment and asked again, "Are you alone, or did you get separated from your teammates?" "I'm alone." Wu Crossing answered truthfully. Alone. The middle-aged instructor was stunned when he heard this, and then he looked at Wu Crossing carefully, as if to judge whether he was lying. Although the Sunset Forest is not as powerful as the Stardao Great Forest in terms of soul beasts, it is not something that a soul master can deal with alone. If you encounter a powerful soul beast, a mere soul master can only be buried in the tiger's mouth. What's more, this is not the outskirts of the Sunset Forest, so the middle-aged instructor became suspicious. How can you come here safely by yourself? Before the middle-aged man could speak, the student who had just laughed out loud had already laughed. Upon hearing this, several team members also laughed, with disdain on their faces, obviously not believing what Wu Crossing said. The guy in front of them was about the same age as them, and his strength was probably not much stronger. Even if their entire team was not led by a teacher, they might not be able to go deep into this place, so how could they believe what he said? Only the female student did not mean to laugh at her. This was not because she was not arrogant. You have to know that she was a student of Xiandao Royal Academy, as the most prestigious academy in the Xiandao Empire. Although she was not the most outstanding, she was also outstanding and had a sense of superiority. The reason why she did not laugh at him was entirely because of Wu Crossing's appearance. It was the first time she saw such a handsome man. She didn't expect that a man could be so handsome. This kind of beauty did not refer to feminine beauty, but was full of handsomeness, grace, and imposing beauty. It is said that a man's handsomeness lies in his bones, not in his skin. Wu Crossing is not only good looking, but also has an indescribable temperament. He is as gentle as spring breeze when he raises his hand. He is neither humble nor overbearing when facing the teacher's questions. He is also calm when facing the ridicule of his teammates. He even has a confident look, which makes her look at him infatuated. In fact, although Wu Crossing is handsome, he is not so handsome that women can't walk. The main reason is that he has obtained the Heart of Origin and has become so extraordinary after being cleansed by soul power. As for self-confidence, it goes without saying. In addition to the diary system, the confidence brought to him by the martial soul is also enough. The middle-aged man, who was a mentor, naturally noticed this. The man in front of him was probably not ordinary. He should be from a big family or a big sect. Therefore, he coughed and interrupted the student's ridicule, and then said, "Since you got lost in the Sunset Forest, it's just right that we have completed the purpose of this trip. If you are not in a hurry, wait until my students absorb the spirit rings, and then go out together." In the past, he would not invite them like this. At most, he would tell them the route or throw a map. But Wu Crossing's temperament made him think that he was from a big family or a big sect. For a spirit master with such a background, he didn't mind doing a favor. Even if he was not, there was no loss, right? He didn't consider any conspiracy. A spirit master who could be a mentor in the Xiandao Royal Academy was not an ordinary person. In addition, this was the territory of the Xiandao Empire. Who would dare to set his sights on them? Then I'd like to thank you, senior. Wu Crossing's face lit up when he heard it. He was still worried that he could not understand it if he was just given directions or a map. Now someone was willing to take him out. That would be the best. No problem. The middle-aged teacher waved his hand and said nothing more. Even if he was prepared to do a favor, he was still proud. Among the students he taught, which one was not from a big family or a big sect? There was even a grandson of a prince from the royal family. Hearing the teacher's decision, the students were a little surprised. They didn't expect the teacher to do this. But soon the male student who had laughed at Wu Crossing spoke again. "Hey, what level of Soul Master are you?" 30th level Soul Master. Wu Crossing did not hide the question from the man and said lightly. Although the man in front of him had just mocked him, he still needed to trouble the other teacher and didn't want to make enemies. Level 30 Soul Master? The man was stunned, and after a moment he said, "Haha, a level 30 Soul Master, you can get here safely. It seems that you are very lucky." "Lucky?" Wu Crossing replied calmly. Seeing that the guy in front of him seemed to be indifferent to his ridicule, the man suddenly felt bored and said nothing more. He soon became friends with his companions. Although he was the grandson of Prince Xing of the Xiandao Empire and was very proud, he was not the kind of person who would make enemies without thinking. On the contrary, the female student came to Wuhun Crossing with interest, looked at Wuhun Crossing for a while, and then said, "Did you really break in here alone?" "Yeah." Wuhun Crossing nodded. "Didn't you encounter soul beasts?" the female student asked again. Facing the female student's inquiry, Wuhun Crossing explained, "I encountered a few, but they were not very strong, and I beat them away. So powerful." The female student was a little surprised when she heard it. The other party was too casual. "It's okay." Wuhun Crossing smiled. He didn't expect that the female student would take the initiative to talk to him. The female student giggled, then stretched out her hand and said, "My name is Su Ruoxi. Nice to meet you. My name is Guyan. I just told your instructor you should have heard it." Wuhun Crossing smiled and stretched out his hand, and it loosened as soon as it touched. This was a simple acquaintance between the two parties. Chapter 10 Invitation. The conversation between the two parties did not involve any bloody plots such as the one where a man is angry for his beloved. It may also be because the two did not talk for long and Su Ruoxi returned to the team. In this world, appearance and temperament can certainly add points, but the most important thing is one's own strength. Wuhun Crossing would not think that the other party would fall in love with him at first sight, unless it was like the little dolphin Chichua with the attribute of being a fangirl in the anime. And the reason why she behaved like this was probably due to environmental factors. After all, Xianshu College was full of women, and there were not many opposite sexes in normal times. About an hour later, the student successfully absorbed the third soul ring, shared some joy, and then walked to the outskirts of the forest under the guidance of the middle-aged instructor. "Which college are you from?" the middle-aged instructor asked Wuhun Crossing casually, while on the way. "Senior, I have not joined any college." Wuhun Crossing, who was following beside him, answered calmly. The middle-aged mentor paused for a moment, and without thinking too much, he asked curiously, "Which sect are you from?" "To be honest, I'm not from any sect either. I'm just a civilian soul master." Wuhun Crossing shook his head and replied with a smile. "A civilian soul master?" The middle-aged mentor was stunned, and his steps stopped. He couldn't help but ask, "How old are you this year?" 23 years old. Wuhun Crossing was a little surprised by the middle-aged mentor's reaction and replied, 23 years old? The middle-aged mentor was shocked again, before he could catch Wuhun Crossing's hand subconsciously. Looking at the middle-aged mentor's actions, Wuhun Crossing was very confused, but he didn't pull back. He didn't know what his answer just now meant. Most of the students of Xiandao Royal Academy are in this range of 23-year-old soul masters, but that is because they have a good education and various resources to achieve this. As a civilian soul master, Wuhun Crossing can achieve such achievements at this age, which can definitely be called a genius. Take the student who just absorbed the spirit ring for example. He barely reached level 30 at the age of 21, but he is already an elite in the academy. Otherwise, he would not be able to represent Xiandao team to in the all-continent elite competition. If Wuhun Crossing had a good education and the resources provided by the academy, his achievements would only be higher, not lower. This is why the middle-aged instructor lost his composure when he heard that the other party was a civilian spirit master. After touching the bone age, the middle-aged instructor let go of his hand and exclaimed, "You are really 23 years old." Wuhun Crossing finally understood what was going on with this instructor of Xiandao Academy. Is it necessary to make a fuss about it? Are you interested in joining Xiandao Royal Academy? After a short pause, the middle-aged instructor, who was excited to see the prey, asked. In order to make the other party excited, he continued to explain, if you join Xiandao Royal Academy, your strength will be greatly improved under the training of the academy. Wuhun Crossing was dumbfounded. He never expected that he would be valued. Is his luck so good? What? You don't believe what the teacher said? Seeing Wuhun Crossing hesitated, the middle-aged teacher raised his eyebrows slightly. You know, it is a great honor for a civilian soul master to join the Xiandao Royal Academy, but this kid is still hesitating. Senior, of course I don't mean that. Wuhun Crossing shook his head. Then what are you hesitating about? The middle-aged teacher said angrily. Yes, Guyan, if you can join the Xiandao Royal Academy, the training you get will definitely not be comparable to what you had before. Before Wu Crossing answered, Su Ruoxi stepped forward to persuade him. The conversation between Wu Crossing and the teacher just now was heard by all the students behind him. Before that, they thought that the other party came from a big family or a big sect, but they didn't expect that he was a civilian soul master. For civilian soul masters, they generally look down on them, but if a civilian can reach the 30th level of soul master at the age of 23, they have to look up to him. And Su Ruoxi persuaded him even more. After all, Wu Crossing is so handsome and talented. If he can join the Xiandao Royal Academy, wouldn't it be that she can get the moon first? It's not her fault that she thought so. It was really Wu Crossing's appearance and temperament that sweeted her taste. She didn't show such an urgent need before because she didn't know his talent. She could reach the level of Soul Master by herself. Facing the words of the middle-aged mentor and Su Ruoxi's persuasion, Wu Crossing thought for a moment and then asked, "Senior, I want to ask how long it will take until the All Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition? All Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Competition?" The middle-aged mentor was stunned for a while and replied, "Less than a year, specifically 10 months and 7 days. Then I'm willing to join the Xiandao Royal Academy." Wu Crossing said after hearing this. He decided to join the Xiandao Royal Academy because he could abuse Tang San in front of thousands of people at the competition, not to see those beauties who were about to appear one by one. Well, absolutely not. Haha, but, very good. The middle-aged mentor heard the words, smiled heartily and patted Wu Crossing on the shoulder, and then said, "The mentor's name is Yu Feng. You can call me Teacher Yu in the future." Teacher Yu. Wu Crossing called. Benian, we will be classmates from now on. Seeing Wu Crossing agree to join Xiandao Royal Academy, Su Ruoxi's beautiful eyes lit up, and the more she looked at him, the more she liked him. However, several male students had different reactions to Wu Crossing joining Xiandao Royal Academy. Some didn't care, some were disdainful, and some were hostile. As for the male students, who were somewhat hostile, it was definitely because of Su Ruoxi, but because of the presence of Teacher Yu, they did not show any excessive behavior. "Benian, what kind of martial soul do you have?" After laughing, Yu Feng asked curiously. Wu Crossing said softly, "Blue silver grass." Blue silver grass? Yu Feng almost stumbled and fell to the ground when he heard this, looking at Wu Crossing in disbelief. He was careless. He didn't ask the other party clearly what martial soul he had before letting him join Xiandao Royal Academy. Now it's too late to regret it. Blue silver grass? That's a useless martial soul. What's the use of having a high talent? When Su Ruoxi heard Wu Crossing talk about his martial soul, her pretty face changed slightly. She didn't expect that the other party's martial soul would be blue silver grass. All kinds of feelings surged in her heart. Haha, it turns out to be a useless martial soul. No wonder he is not a disciple of any sect, nor has he joined any academy. I'm afraid no one will accept him. A male student who was originally unhappy because Su Ruoxi approached Wu Crossing laughed at him. Wu Crossing ignored the guy who laughed at him. What's wrong with blue silver grass? Blue silver grass can abuse you. With this kind of mentality, it's no wonder that you will be the worst 1-minute face slapping background board. Is your martial soul really blue silver grass? Yu Feng was a little unwilling to give up, staring at Wu Crossing and asked again. Wu Crossing nodded, a smile appeared on his face, and he slowly stretched out his hand. He slightly urged his soul power and a dazzling blue silver grass appeared in the center of his palm. The middle-aged instructor looked at the blue silver grass in Wu Crossing's hand, and he wanted to cry, but had no tears. What a sin, he was so wise in his life. Just when he was regretting why he had recruited Wu Crossing to join Xiandao Royal Academy, black halo slowly lit up from under his feet. Please collect, vote, and comment on my new book. Your support is my motivation for writing. I will add more chapters as appropriate. Chapter 11, Deception. 10,000 year soul rings. As the 3 soul rings emitting black light appeared under Wu Crossing's feet, Yu Feng couldn't help but widen his eyes, swallowed his saliva, and exclaimed with difficulty. Many students on the side were even more dumbfounded, showing horrified eyes, and couldn't believe that the scene in front of them was real. The soul rings that surpass the cognition of the soul master world. Such a scene completely shocked them, and they all thought they were dreaming. Otherwise, how could there be a soul master in the world who could achieve the point where the first soul ring was a 10,000-year soul ring? 3 soul rings, all 3 of them were deep black, so dazzling, so incomparable, impacting everyone's heart. After rubbing his eyes, Yu Feng made sure that he was not dazzled or hallucinating, and then asked in shock, "Origin, how did you do this soul ring? You must know that every soul master has an upper limit on the age of absorbing soul rings at each stage. If you forcibly absorb a soul ring that is older than your soul power support, you will usually explode and die." But the man in front of him was able to be safe and sound, which was simply incredible. "Teacher Yu, I don't know. Maybe my martial spirit is a little special. It's not like ordinary blue silver grass. Maybe it's the king of blue silver grass that allows me to cross years and absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring." Wood Crossing certainly wouldn't say anything about the perfect spirit ring. He could only make up a few words. As for whether he believed it or not, it depended on the other party. Hearing Wood Crossing's answer, Yu Feng was stunned, but seeing that the other party didn't seem to be lying, he frowned again. But soon, he understood. Who cares? No matter how he did it, no matter if he was the king of blue silver grass, he was sure that he had picked up a treasure. Even if it was blue silver grass, it didn't matter if it was a useless martial spirit. With the blessing of the 10,000-year spirit ring, even waste could become a treasure. He believed that if he brought Wood Crossing back to Xiandao Royal Academy, he would definitely be highly praised by the dean of the academy, and his position would also be improved. Thinking of this, Yu Feng's eyes softened when he looked at the other party, staring at Wood Crossing so hard that he got goosebumps, wondering if this instructor had any other hobbies. After calming down his excitement, Yu Feng suddenly thought of something and asked, "No, Benian, how did you get the 10,000-year soul ring? Not to mention being able to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring. How did the other party, a level 30 civilian soul master, get it? You know, the 10,000-year soul beast is not something that a soul master can hunt, not to mention that his first ring is a 10,000-year soul ring." When Wood Crossing released his soul ring, he thought that the other party would ask this question, and he had already thought of the wording. "Teacher Yu, when I first got a soul ring, I encountered an aging soul beast facing death. At that time, I didn't know it was a 10,000-year soul beast. I killed it without thinking much, and sat on the ground to absorb it. It was not until I succeeded in absorbing it that I found out that it was a 10,000-year soul ring. After I found that I could absorb the 10,000-year soul ring, I went to the soul beast forest to try my luck when my soul power reached level 20. Because I didn't want to absorb soul rings below 10,000 years, I stayed there for 8 or 9 months. And this time I went to the sunset forest because I reached level 30 soul power, but I accidentally got lost." Wood Crossing said at the end, spreading his hands helplessly. Listening to Wood Crossing's explanation, Yu Feng's face was full of excitement. The first time he absorbed a soul ring, he encountered a soul beast facing death, and it was a 10,000-year soul beast, and the absorption was successful. Your luck is unmatched. And the second time, for the 10,000-year soul ring, he stayed in the soul beast forest for 7 or 8 months. So perseverant. And finally, this time, he got lost. But it's good that he got lost, otherwise how could he find the treasure? The students next to him didn't know what to say at this time. Their mouths were all open, as if they were listening to a book from heaven. This guy's experience was too mysterious. Haha, good boy, I didn't expect you to have such an experience. It really opened my eyes. Yu Feng, who came back to his senses after a long time, laughed again and patted Wood Crossing on the shoulder fiercely. This time was different from before. His eyes were extremely eager, as if he was admiring some peerless treasure. If what the other party said was true, his talent would increase a few points. After all, during the time when he went to the Soul Beast Forest to try his luck, this kid certainly didn't practice much. Excluding the time wasted twice, wouldn't that mean he was a civilian soul master who had not received training at the age of 21? Origin, you have such a past. At this time, Su Ruoxi's eyes were as charming as silk, and she looked at Wood Crossing with eyes that she wanted to eat him on the spot. She was a little disappointed just now, Wu Crossing's martial soul was blue silver grass, but after seeing the 3 soul rings released by the other party, this idea had long been thrown behind her mind. The bonus brought by the 10,000-year soul ring completely made up for the shortcomings of the martial soul, and even far exceeded her expectations. She was already a little moved by Wu Crossing, and when she learned that the other party was a genius, how could she remain indifferent? Facing Su Ruoxi's bold seductive eyes, Wu Crossing's heart was rippled. He had just come to Douluo Continent for a few days, and a beautiful woman threw herself into his arms. It was so cool. Although the woman in front of him was just a small supporting role, and appeared for less than a minute, her appearance and figure were very attractive to him, so he naturally didn't mind her flirting with him. It must be said that the two-dimensional world is good. Even if it is a small role, her appearance is at the level of a goddess in modern times. After a little yai in his heart, Wu Crossing showed a very calm look on his face and said, "I'm just lucky and coincidental. I don't deserve the attention of you, teacher you." Okay. Yu Feng heard this and laughed heartily again. Although he was also proud, he would like his students more when he saw them being so humble in front of him. This is human nature. After laughing, Yu Feng pretended to think for a while and said earnestly, "Origin, didn't you ask the teacher when the elite competition of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy would start? It just so happens that the team led by the teacher is still lacking a strong control type Soul Master, so you can join in." He understood that with Wu Crossing's situation, if he returned to Xiandao Royal Academy, he would definitely be the object of competition among the instructors, and he had to pull the other party to his camp first. With this kid joining, it is not impossible to catch up with the first team. If he gets good results in the competition, he will be able to rise to the top and gain both fame and fortune. Su Ruoxi, who heard Yu Feng's words, immediately looked at Wu Crossing eagerly and almost agreed on his behalf. "Whatever Mr. Yu tells you." Wu Crossing seemed not to see Su Ruoxi's eager look and replied slightly, "Benian, we will be teammates from now on." As soon as she finished speaking, Su Ruoxi shouted happily. Wu Crossing smiled and said, "Give me more guidance." Yu Feng saw that his face was full of satisfaction. This trip to the Sunset Forest was really a great success. When the other students saw this, they also flashed with joy in their hearts. The previous indifference and disdain had disappeared without a trace after the other party released the 10,000-year soul ring. Having such a teammate is definitely a great help to them. They can still understand this point. Even the 2 male students who have some ideas about Su Ruoxi have withdrawn some hostility. Between the country and the beauty, they naturally choose the former. Chapter 12. Popularize science for beauties. After 3 days of travel, the whole team walked out of the Sunset Forest, and Wu Crossing finally saw the city of this world. The architecture was not much different from what he saw in the anime, and it was more of an ancient Western style. After another half day of travel, the group entered the Xiandao Royal Academy. The entire academy was huge, standing in the mountains. There was also a huge lake in the center, surrounded by mountains and water, and the environment was very beautiful. It is worthy of being the highest institution of learning in the Xiandao Empire. It is so magnificent. Wu Crossing secretly sighed in his heart. Looking at Wu Crossing with a little shock on his face, Su Ruoxi on the side couldn't help but smile and asked, "Origin, how is it? Isn't it nice here?" After 3 days of getting along, Su Ruoxi was more moved by the man in front of her, just because of the powerful strength he showed. Although the martial soul is blue silver grass, under the blessing of the 10,000-year soul ring, the soul beast is tied up tightly, creating the best output environment for the whole team, which is a qualitative leap. They never thought that it would be so easy for a powerful control type soul master to face soul beasts, and there is no need to worry about their own dangers. It is safe and efficient. For this reason, after a few days, all the members recognized Wu Crossing, including the 2 male students who had feelings for Su Ruoxi. "Well, it's magnificent and the scenery is beautiful." Wu Crossing nodded. Su Ruoxi smiled knowingly when she heard it. Xiandao Royal College is the top college in the empire, and its scale and environment are naturally not bad. Under the leadership of Yu Feng, Wu Crossing crossed the wide road and met the 3 members of the education committee of the college. After learning about his situation, they were also very surprised. After recording all the information, they were led by the team members to arrange him into a dormitory. The dormitory where the students of Xiandao Royal College live is not the multi-person dormitory like the university in the previous life, but everyone has a single room, which makes Wuhun even more impressed by the strong funds of the Royal College. When everything was handled, it was already evening. Remembering that he had not completed the diary task today, he couldn't wait to open the system and write. It's not easy. It's not easy. Ladies, I finally walked out of the forest today and came to the gathering place of humans. Because I have to find a place to stay, I'm busy during the day. Today's update is a little late. Sorry for the ladies. Wuhun had not said before that he had joined the Xiandao Royal Academy, but only said that he had met someone in the forest and planned to leave with their team, so he concealed some things in his writing. The girls who were reading the diary suddenly realized what Wuhun said. No wonder the diary owner updated so late today. It turned out to be for this reason. They thought that the other party would not update today. Through the communication with them these days, I already know the specific timeline of the animation, so let's talk about what will happen next today. However, my time travel, plus you can see my diary, the original plot may change, but I think the difference will not be too big. At this point in time, there are only about 10 months away from the elite competition of advanced soul masters in the continent, which means that everyone in Shrek Academy should be on the way to Xiandao City. The purpose is of course, to join the Xiandao Royal Academy for the quota of the competition. However, an interesting thing happened here, which eventually led to them not joining the Royal Academy and entering the Blue Tyrant Academy instead. Of course, such a thing happened because they encountered an avalanche at the entrance of the academy. Some people may not know who Zhu Beng is. He is the fourth prince of the Xiandao Empire. How can I describe this person? On the surface, he looks very dandy and arrogant, but in fact, he is not that bad. I will not reveal more details, but I want to remind my wife Zuzu. No, it was a slip of the tongue. It was the beautiful Zuzu. You have to be on guard against him. According to his disguise style, when he saw the arrival of the Shrek people, it was clear that the two sides had a conflict, but in the end he was educated, and then he naturally called Prince Su Ruoxi. This is a common trick in novels, beating the younger to get the older, haha. Under the intervention of Prince Su Ruoxi, Shrek Academy naturally could not join the Xiandao Royal Academy and left in disgrace. The Shrek people who had fled to Xiandao City had no choice but to enter Xiandao City to find a place to stay. They happened to encounter the information that Lanba Academy was recruiting tutors, and the group successfully joined it. Speaking of this, another interesting thing has emerged. The Dean of Lanba Academy, Liu Erlong, is an old acquaintance of the Dean of Shrek Academy, Flanders, and is a cousin of Yu Gang. In addition, the three of them have a resounding name on the mainland, known as the Golden Iron Triangle. I don't know if you, Liu Erlong, have obtained a copy of the diary. If you are reading it, there is one thing I have to complain about. How can you like your cousin? Don't you know that inbreeding is dangerous? And ZHU Zuking, you are also here. The Day family and the ZHU family of Xing Empire have been intermarrying for generations. Have they never considered this issue? But this can't be blamed on you. After all, soul power is prevalent in your place, and technology is not advanced. Then I will give you beautiful ladies a good popular science. Inbreeding is very dangerous. The offspring of reproduction are more or less hidden diseases. For example, it increases the incidence of some children's genetic diseases, such as increasing the probability of children's deformities, all kinds of things. In short, it is very dangerous. Even if there is no disease, it is good luck. Think carefully. Do your own families and sex have many of the phenomena I mentioned above? So it is not advisable to marry close relatives, at least 3 generations or more. Otherwise just wait and see. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not talking nonsense, because I care about you. I admit that I like beautiful women, but I will not be so tasteless and deliberately instigate. I'm completely for your good. If you don't believe it, you can ignore it. Anyway, I'm not the one who gets hurt. And the beautiful Donja, Yu Gang is not a good match. This guy is an ungrateful guy. As for his character, I will tell you in detail later. Let's go back to the topic just now. As Wuxing wrote the diary to this point, the women in Douluo Continent were all shocked. Is the harm of close relative marriage so great? As beauties from big families and big sects, they got goosebumps when they thought about it. It seemed that it was true as Wuxing said, that most of the children who married within 3 generations were weak and sickly, and some of them were deformed. Some beauties who had nothing to do with the above were thinking about other things, such as Guyan and Li Lingling. They were thinking about whether Wuxing could really predict the future and see the future outcome. This time, they could get verification from Wuxing's diary to see if it was true as the other party said, that Shrek Academy would conflict with Zubeng and then end up leaving under the intervention of Prince Su Ruoxi. In the diaries of the past few days, they all knew what Shrek Academy was like, and they also understood why Wuxing always mentioned them. Chapter 13 Weird Rewards. Lanba Academy. Liu Erlang was sitting in front of a chair outside a small wooden house in the forest outside the main campus, with a pale face. At first, she was very happy when she saw the owner of the diary said that Zhutian gang would come to her Lanba Academy, but then the tone of the words changed, and she was struck by lightning. It is not advisable to marry close relatives. There are various dangers in marrying close relatives. For Wuxing, as a child of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, she simply thought about it and realized that the other party was not talking nonsense. It was because of knowing that she became distraught. She likes Zhutian gang and her cousin, but now she wants to cut off this relationship. How can she do it just because she wants to? So much so that Wuxing said that Zhutian gang was an ungrateful person and ungrateful. She didn't even read it. In the Wuhun Palace, Guyan Ringsu looked at Wuxing's description in the diary. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and Zhu Beng's past actions flashed through her mind. If Wuxing hadn't reminded her, she really wouldn't have noticed this prince who was just eating and waiting to die. It turned out that this guy had been pretending before, which made her misjudge him. Now that she knew, she would no longer look down on him. Guyan Ringsu's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. It seemed that her plan needed to be changed, and she had to add the unstable factor of avalanche. Guyan Ringsu remembered Wuxing's kindness in her heart, and she didn't care about him deliberately calling her his wife. But then she saw Wuxing talking about that woman, and her calm heart suddenly beat. Zhutian gang. This was a name she had never heard of, but this man actually had some relationship with that woman. Although she didn't like that woman, she had to admit that the woman was her mother, and her mother actually had an entanglement with a man other than her father. All of a sudden, she seemed to know why the woman was so indifferent to her. She wanted to confirm her guess in her heart, and continued to read the diary, hoping to get the answer from it, but the other party no longer talked about this matter. After joining Blue Tyrant Academy, because of the relationship between the three of them, Liu Erlang was handed over to Flanders for management. From then on, Blue Tyrant Academy was renamed Shrek Academy, and naturally had a place in the Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite competition 10 months later. Don't look at their young age, but they have made great progress all the way, overcame all difficulties, and finally won the championship of the competition, so that Donja, the soul bones you originally prepared for Nana were all used as wedding clothes for the double standard Tang San. I feel sad when I say this. If I can participate in the Soul Master competition, I will never let this hypocritical guy succeed. My poor wife Nana, your husband will avenge you when there is a chance. This guy. He is really too scumbag and too shameless. Lena, who was reading the diary, didn't even have time to blush. He just deliberately called someone else his wife, and now he calls himself his wife. Does he really think she is a casual girl? Although she was full of complaints, Lena was still a little happy in her heart. After all, she was able to make a man she had never met miss her, and this man was not ordinary, which was enough to prove her charm. Well, women are such strange creatures. After spitting at the owner of the diary, Lena quickly put away her thoughts. Her face became extremely serious, and her eyes were even more determined. She could not forget from beginning to end that when she and her brother were in the most dangerous time, when they were young, it was the teacher who saved them. Moreover, the teacher spared no effort to cultivate her, gave her the best environment, the best academy, and even personally instructed her and cultivated her as a successor. It can be said that without the teacher, she would not be who she is now. She has always been proud of her teacher, and has always been proud that the teacher can see her achievements and be happy. She values the honor of the spirit hall more than herself. She can't let the teacher's cultivation go to waste. No matter what, she can't lose to Tang San, can't lose to this so-called son of luck. Besides, this son of luck is so disgusting. Speaking of which, I'm still very much looking forward to the elite competition of the all-continental high-level Soul Master Academy. I will definitely go to Xiandao City to take a look when the time comes. After all, there are so many beauties participating in this competition. Xiao, Xing, Rangrong, you three beauties are not to be mentioned. There are also the girls from Xianshu Academy. They are all white-skinned, beautiful, and have long legs. There is also Huao, who has a slightly bad temper, and Yilingling, who is gentle as water. They are all top beauties. In the Xingluo Empire, Zhu King's sister is also one of them. That leg-breaking split is simply life-threatening. Alas, no more, no more. I can't wait to see you all. I'll just write this for today. See you tomorrow, beauties. Looking at the last few words in Wu Crossing's diary, all the girls rolled their eyes. Since you are so impatient, why don't you come to us? Maybe we will agree to your request. After a few days of contact, they already know this guy Wu Crossing. He always flirts with them before the end of each time. They are already used to it. But this guy is obviously a big talker. He has the desire, but not the courage. Not only does he not dare to come to them, but he is also scared to death, and is unwilling to reveal any useful information about himself. A coward. Wu Crossing didn't know that he was labeled a coward by a group of beautiful women. At this time, his mind was full of MMP, and he didn't know whether to say it or not. Since he got the diary system, the rewards have been getting worse day by day, from the awakening of the martial soul at the beginning, then the spirit rings for 2 consecutive days, and then all kinds of weird items later. There was no stuff to improve strength. Today is even more outrageous. The reward is a box of Durex balloons. What a joke. I can use this thing. Need to use this thing. It doesn't take his concentration seriously. Thinking back to before I traveled through time, I also had a few girlfriends, and I didn't use that thing at all, because the touch of this thing is too different when I use it, and when I don't use it. Besides, are you using this thing to play with women or other? If Wu Crossing goes to some romantic places, there is nothing wrong with using these, but there are so many beauties in Douluo Continent. Does he need to go to such a place to vent his energy? Not to mention the beauties in the diary copy far away. There is Su Ruoxi nearby. As long as he releases the appropriate signal, the other party will probably send him up immediately. Disdainful of the diary system, Wu Crossing picked up the balloon and threw it into the trash can next to him. Just as he turned off the light and was about to go to sleep, he picked it up again in the dark and quietly put it into the soul guide rewarded by the academy. No one saw it, right? No one should see it, right? All the lights were turned off. Just when Wu Crossing was proud of his act of covering his ears and stealing the bell, there was a crisp knock at the door, followed by a light voice. Origin, are you asleep? Wu Crossing. Hearing the voice outside the door, he remembered the reward just now. He suspected that the system was definitely intentional. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that Su Ruoxi came to him just after giving him the balloon? Chapter 14 Hunter or Prey? Ruoxi, what do you want to talk to me about so late? Wu Crossing's eyes lit up when he opened the door. At this time, Su Ruoxi was wearing a loose black leather jacket with a huge collar open outwards. At a glance, you can see the fullness and whiteness of her chest. Tight black leather pants and short black high heels show her slender legs to the fullest. Of course, the most eye-catching thing is that the zipper opened her thighs on both sides, revealing the white and tender skin inside. The black and white color made Wu Crossing's eyes a little bit unable to leave. Su Ruoxi's outfit was exactly the outfit she wore during the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the continent. Noticing Wu Crossing's hot eyes, Su Ruoxi was happy in her heart, but on the surface, she shook her golden wavy short hair calmly and said coquettishly, "Can't I look for you if there is nothing to do?" Of course not." Wu Crossing smiled slightly and made way while speaking. He naturally understood why the other party came to him. Over the past few days, the woman in front of him had been flirting with him and seducing him. If it weren't for the wild, with the instructors and team members, she would have sneaked into his bed long ago. Now that she was back at the academy, she couldn't help but offer herself to him. Faced with such a beautiful girl who took the initiative to come to his door, Wuhun had no reason to refuse. It was just a little regrettable that after a few days of getting along, Su Ruoxi in front of him didn't seem to have a copy of his diary. If she had a copy of the diary, it would be even more perfect. Entering the room, Su Ruoxi looked around, then sat down and said, "Origin, how do you feel? Can you get used to living here? It's pretty good, but it's a bit of a waste to live alone." Wuhun closed the door and sat down next to Su Ruoxi with a smile. He was not talking nonsense. Although the dormitory was a single room, it was not small in size. In addition to the beds, the balcony and the bathroom next to the balcony, there were also desks and wardrobes, and even sofas and tea tables, all of which reflected the wealth of Xiandao Royal Academy. After hearing Wuhun's answer and looking at his meaningful expression, Su Ruoxi blushed slightly. Although she came so late and hoped to have some romantic things happen with him, the instinct of a girl could not be changed. "Then do you want me to find someone to live with you?" Su Ruoxi said softly, with a smile on her lips. Wuhun pretended to look around, then smiled and said, "Okay, it would be better if a beauty like you, Ruoxi, could live in. You are so beautiful, and you still want me to live in." Su Ruoxi rolled her eyes at Wuhun. She looked even more charming with her queen image. Looking at the seductive Su Ruoxi, Wuhun smiled slightly. This woman is really good at seducing people. She was so proactive, but she still played the trick of playing hard to get. However, Wuhun did not mean to point this out. He was not a straight man, so he naturally knew that women like to say one thing and mean another. Of course, he couldn't let the fat meat slip away. He immediately put on a disappointed expression and said, "That's a pity. I thought I could live in the same dormitory with you, Ruoxi. You guy, you must have often deceived girls in the past." Su Ruoxi rolled her eyes at Wuhun. She could see that this man was also an old lover. Wuhun was stunned when he heard this. He immediately shook his head and said, "How is it possible? I have always been a modest gentleman and have never deceived girls." At least he didn't do that when he traveled through Douluo, he added in his heart. "Do you think I will believe it?" Su Ruoxi hummed. Seeing the other party pouting, Wuhun calmly grabbed the other party's slender hand and put it on his chest. "If you don't believe it, touch my heart and see if I'm lying." Wuhun's bold action made Su Ruoxi's hand tremble, but she didn't pull it back. Instead, she blushed and felt the other party's heartbeat. Seeing that the other party had no intention of refusing, Wuhun became bolder again. He grabbed the other hand of the other party with one hand and said, "Ruoxi, do you feel it? If a person lies, his heartbeat will definitely speed up, and I'm so even, how could I possibly lie to you?" For his own sexual happiness, in order to win the beauty in front of him, as soon as possible, Wuhun did not care how greasy his words were, and put on a loving look. The other hand was tightly held in the other party's hand. Su Ruoxi's face was completely hot. She was originally very moved by Wuhun. How could she resist such an attack? Her heart was pounding. I believe you." Su Ruoxi did not dare to look at Wuhun and whispered. Wuhun saw that it was almost done, and a hint of amusement appeared on his face, and then he said, "Then Ruoxi, do you agree to live in the same dormitory with me?" "Well." Su Ruoxi responded subconsciously, but soon realized that she had inexplicably fallen into the other party's trap. Just as she was about to veto, Wuhun interrupted her. "That's great, Ruoxi, thank you for your trust." Wuhun pretended to be happy and shouted, "What a joke, how could he give the other party a chance to regret?" And he immediately confirmed the matter. Su Ruoxi was dumbfounded at this time. She thought she was a hunter, but now it seemed that she was the prey. Origin, I don't, not, Su Ruoxi wanted to say something after she came to her senses, but her sexy red lips were blocked by Wuhun. After a long time, after letting go, Wuhun saw Su Ruoxi with a red face and lowered her head, not daring to look at him. and he showed a playful smile again, and naturally put his arm around her waist, and then held her in his arms. All this happened naturally, and it seemed so natural, that it could dazzle a group of single dogs in Xiandao Royal Academy. At the same time, Wuxing raised his eyebrows, and said to the diary system in his mind, "System gal, look, do I need to use the things you sent me? This love saint can do it immediately." System. Then why did you pick up that thing just now? After showing off to the system, Wuxing withdrew his thoughts. He was not Liu Xiaohu. If he didn't eat such a beautiful woman, he would be sorry for the senior travelers and readers. He reached out and held Su Ruoxi's chin and lifted it up gently. Looking at the delicate beauty, who was still a queen, he kissed her again. This time he didn't want to stop there. His loose big hands followed dishonesty, but just when he was about to go deep into the collar and climb up the Mount Everest, Su Ruoxi blocked his evil hand and said breathlessly, Benilan, no, we are too fast. How can it be too fast? When I first saw you, Ruoxi, I liked you. You should think so too, right? Wuxing asked affectionately, and then said, don't you like it? No. I don't mean that. Seeing Wuxing's sincere look, Su Ruoxi hurriedly shook her head. That's it, be good, be obedient, leave everything to me. Wuxing coaxed gently in her ear. Hearing this, Su Ruoxi subconsciously loosened her blocking hand. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Xiandao Royal Academy. The next day, the sun slowly rose from the horizon, and the warm sunlight shone on the Xiandao Royal Academy, showing its magnificence and domineering. In a dormitory, Wuxing woke up from his sleep, looking at Su Ruoxi who was still sleeping tightly in his arms, and a knowing smile appeared on his face. Yesterday, under his offensive, Su Ruoxi, who was already moved, naturally did not escape his clutches, and became his woman half-heartedly. But what Wuxing did not expect was that Su Ruoxi was actually the first time. He thought that this woman was so proactive, and she was an old driver like him, but she never thought that she was still a virgin. This surprised him very much, and at the same time, he slightly changed his original idea in his heart. Originally, he planned to have a due relationship with the other party, but now he can't think so. After all, men's possessiveness, especially for women who give their first time to him, is even more so. Although, living in the 21st century, few people pay attention to chastity, and Wuxing, who goes with the flow, is no exception, but who doesn't want his woman to be the first time. Therefore, now he no longer regards the other party as a casual object to play with, but as his own woman. No wonder many people on the internet in the previous life wanted to travel back to ancient times and marry ancient beauties. Wuxing now deeply understands this point. In this regard alone, how many women in modern times can do it? As for why Su Ruoxi was so proactive for the first time and even gave herself to him, Wuxing actually knew the reason. In Douluo Continent, the strong are respected, and it is not uncommon for women to admire the strong. Even in modern society, it is still the same, but women have changed to admire money. The only difference is that the thoughts of women in this world are similar to those of women in ancient times in the previous life. Although Wuxing is not a strong man now, he can definitely do it in the future. After all, a level 30 soul master has 3 10,000-year soul rings, which is definitely a miracle in the entire soul master world. Just based on this point, it is enough to attract women, not to mention his appearance and temperament, which adds countless points. Just imagine, in modern society, a rich and handsome man, which girl would not be moved? If I don't take the initiative, I'm afraid I will be snatched away by other women. Wuxing was in the same situation now. If Su Ruoxi didn't take action, she would be in trouble if it was too late. Gently taking the other's hand away from his neck, Wuxing carefully moved Su Ruoxi away from him, and then stretched and got up. His action did not cause Su Ruoxi to open her eyes. Yesterday's battle made her very tired. Wuxing was like an indestructible ox, plowing the wasteland that had never been cultivated into a very fertile place. Even if he moved more vigorously, the other party might not wake up before noon. This was also due to Wu Crossing's physical fitness. It seemed that this world was indeed as vulnerable as it was said on the internet. After washing up, Wu Crossing did not wake up Su Ruoxi and left his room yesterday because he followed Yu Feng to handle the admission procedures. He did not have time to familiarize himself with the environment of Xiandao Royal Academy. Today, he could take a good look. Brother Benilan, are you up? Wu Crossing had just walked out of the dormitory not far when he met a student. This student was a member of Xiandao Team 2, named Zhan Minghu. The reason why he called Wu Crossing Brother Benilan was not only because he was impressed by Wu Crossing's strong strength, but also because he was older than him. Morning, Minghu. Wu Crossing smiled and greeted the other party. Zhan Minghu also smiled and asked, Brother Benilan, where are you going so early? Everyone had just returned to the academy from the Sunset Forest and had a 3-day rest period, so even the entire team did not need to gather early in the morning to attend classes. I plan to go around. Wu Crossing answered casually. Oh. Zhan Minghu's eyes lit up when he heard it, and then he said, do you want me to take you around the academy? Okay. Wu Crossing agreed to the other party's kindness without thinking. He was unfamiliar with the place, and it was his first time to Xiandao Royal Academy. Having a guide would help him get familiar with the atmosphere and environment of the academy faster. And Wu Crossing felt that his decision was very correct during the following stroll. The main reason was that Xiandao Royal Academy was really too big. If he was alone, it was hard to say whether he would get lost, but he would definitely take a few more turns. Wu Crossing nodded as he listened to Zhan Minghu's introductions at every place. Along the way, he also found that many students were very enthusiastic and took the initiative to greet them. This was completely different from the treatment of Shrek when he first arrived at Xiandao Royal Academy in the anime. Wu Crossing expressed his understanding of this. Zhan Minghu was able to represent Xiandao Team 2 to participate in the Soul Master Academy competition. He was also a celebrity in the academy, so it was not surprising that the students greeted him enthusiastically. Under Zhan Minghu's guidance, Wu Crossing visited most of the buildings in the academy and then walked to the next place. Soon, the two came to another important place in the academy. From a distance, they could see a large and wide field in front of them. In the center of the field, there were circular platforms made of special stones. There were many students gathered around one of the platforms, and various lights could be vaguely seen coming from the platform. Brother Benilan, the academy has set up a competition arena for our students to exchange ideas. Let's go and take a look. Zhan Minghu smiled when he saw the field surrounded by many students in the distance. Yeah. Wu Crossing nodded. He also wanted to know how Xiandao Royal Academy cultivated the combat ability of Soul Masters. When he came to the front of the students who were watching, Zhan Minghu played his position in the academy. The crowd that was originally packed with people made way for him involuntarily. When he came to the front and saw the Soul Masters fighting on the stage, Wu Crossing was stunned. Although there were several Soul Masters in the field who were constantly releasing their soul skills, this was not the reason for his surprise. The main reason was that he saw several familiar figures. Guyan, who was dressed in a blue dress, and Yilingling, who was dressed in silver, were both beauties that impressed him deeply when he watched anime. As for the male students, who would go to watch anime to see the male students, even the girls were ignored by the camera that Zhuangji Niang deliberately played. When he saw the Soul Masters on the field, Zhan Minghu's face first showed a look of surprise, and then he became happy. He didn't expect that today was such a coincidence that he met the two most popular goddesses in the academy and the strongest Yu Xianheng. Just now he was wondering why there were so many people watching around. According to the past situation, this phenomenon would never happen. It turned out that the strongest team in the academy was competing. This can explain it. Suppressing the joy in his heart, Zhan Minghu looked at Wu Crossing on the side, intending to introduce the people on the field for him, but found that the other party was staring at the two goddesses, and he immediately laughed. Brother Benilan, beautiful, right? Zhan Minghu said in a low voice with a smile that all men understand. What? Wu Crossing, who was sighing that the world is so small, was stunned when he heard Zhan Minghu's words. When he turned around and saw the other party's winking expression, he immediately understood what he meant and laughed. This guy didn't think he was stunned by Du Guyan and Li Lingling, right? Chapter 16 Du Guyan, Yi Lingling. Although beauties are beauties and can make people pleasing to the eye, Wuhun is not the kind of person who can't move when seeing a beauty. Moreover, after last night's release, he is still in the sage state at this moment, so it is even more impossible for him to be stunned. The reason for this is mainly based on the spirit rings of the two women. According to the time, since the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the continent, their fighting spirit with Shrek Academy has been about 3 months. If he remembers correctly, Du Guyan's spirit power level at that time should be level 38 Soul Master. In 3 months, it is not difficult to reach level 40 Soul Sect from level 38 Soul Master, but Yi Lingling is also a Soul Sect, which is too intriguing. She remembered that the other party was level 35 Soul Master, upgrading 5 levels in 3 months. Judging from the performance of the original work, it is impossible to do it in such a short time. The only possibility is that the other party has a diary copy. Only by getting the reward of the diary copy can the soul power be improved so quickly. In addition to this, what makes Wuhun more certain that they are the holders of the diary copy is the spirit rings of the two women. The 4th ring is black. Wow, this system is really generous, but it is as stingy as a miser. Are they the hosts, or am I the owner of the diary? Wuhun seriously doubted whether his reward was divided up by these beauties, otherwise what would they give him these days? Brother Binion, don't feel embarrassed. There are few people in the academy who can resist their charm. Seeing Wuhun rolling his eyes, Zanminghu chuckled and continued, but, just think about it. They are not something we can pursue. Oh. Wuhun raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, what do you mean? Look at their spirit rings. They are already spirit ancestor. We are not from the same world. Zanminghu explained here, paused for a moment, and then pointed to Du Guyan in the field and said, look at the goddess in blue. Her name is Du Guyan. Not only is she the strongest female spirit master in our academy, but the most important thing is her grandfather. He has a resounding reputation in the entire Douluo Continent. He is a titled Douluo known as the Jade Scale Douluo. So exaggerated. Wuhun pretended to be surprised after hearing Zanminghu's explanation. That's right. Zanminghu nodded proudly, as if he was very pleased with Wuhun's surprise, and then continued, the other goddess is the strongest female auxiliary soul master in our academy. Her name is Yi Lingling, and her martial soul is the 9-hearted begonia. At this point, Zanminghu looked at Wuhun and said solemnly, Brother Binion, you know the 9-hearted begonia, right? Maybe not many people know about this martial soul, but its healing ability is unmatched by any martial soul. It is no exaggeration to say that for a team assisted by the 9-hearted begonia, it is not easy, even if they want to die. Yeah. Wuhun nodded seriously and smiled. No wonder you say that. We are indeed not from the same world. Zanminghu chuckled, and then said, although the two goddesses are out of reach, Sister Ruoxi is not bad either. With your strength, Brother Binion, it must be no problem. Hearing Zanminghu mention Su Ruoxi, Wuhun smiled slightly. This guy probably doesn't know that the other party was eaten clean by him last night and hasn't woken up yet. Of course, this is just a thought, and it cannot be said out loud. After introducing the two most popular goddesses in the academy, Zanminghu introduced Yushian Heng and others one after another. After all the introductions were completed, the competition in the field also reached the final stage. Yang Lion, you and Lingling's strength has improved too fast. Did Senior Poison Douluo give you special training? The battle ended with Yushian Heng and the two team members being defeated. In his opinion, Du Guyan was able to be promoted to Soul Sect so quickly, and was able to absorb the 4th ring as a 10,000-year soul ring for her own use. It should be, because she was unwilling to lose to Shrek Academy in Soto City 3 months ago, and she looked for Senior Poison Douluo to stimulate her potential. Du Guyan, who was wearing a blue short skirt and short hair, retracted her soul power, and the whole person looked heroic. She did not explain too much to Yushian Heng's words, but nodded slightly. The reason why her strength improved so quickly was not due to her grandfather's contribution, but the reward from the diary copy. However, due to an inexplicable rule, the diary copy could not be seen by her grandfather except Lingling, let alone Yu Xianheng. And Lingling, your strength improved faster than Yan Iron. How did you do it? In fact, the one who surprised Yu Xianheng and others the most was Yi Lingling, who was a level 35 Soul Master, and upgraded 5 levels in 3 months. This speed was probably not as fast as a rocket. Yi Lingling, wearing a silver skirt and silver hair, was completely different from Du Guyan in temperament. She looked very elegant and beautiful. Facing the captain's question, she smiled slightly and said, Sister Yanan and I were both instructed by Senior Debu. She couldn't say anything about the diary copy, and even if she could, she wouldn't say it. Therefore, after discussing with Du Guyan, they found such an excuse. They would not ask Senior Dugu in person. Everyone who heard this sighed. It's good to have a grandfather with a title Douluo. It's really enviable. Yu Xianheng is a disciple of the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. His grandfather is also a title Douluo. However, with such a large family to manage, how could he have time to have a private class like Du Guyan, an only child? Next time we meet those people from Shrek Academy, we will definitely be able to wash away the shame we had before. After sighing, Yu Xianheng couldn't help but clench his fists. He was very unwilling to lose the last Douhan competition. Hearing what Yu Xianheng said, everyone also tightened their fists. Du Guyan and Li Lingling were no exception. Du Guyan even said, yes, the elite competition of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy is coming soon, and we will definitely be able to succeed in revenge. Under the influence of Wu Crossing, Du Guyan, who didn't like Tang San in the first place, is now full of resentment towards him. That's right. Several people nodded heavily. Okay, let's go down, and we'll stop training today. After talking, Yu Xianheng, as the captain, waved his hand and called all the team members to leave. Everyone didn't say much and turned around to go down, but at the moment of turning around, Du Guan's heart moved and her eyes fell on a certain position in the audience. Yanan, Yu Xianheng and others were stunned when they noticed Du Guan's behavior. They followed her gaze and saw Wu Crossing watching from the audience. Then, a thought popped up in their minds. What a handsome boy. Surprise flashed across his face, and Yu Xianheng frowned and asked, Yang Iron, do you know that boy? No. Du Guan shook his head. Then Yu Xianheng asked aloud. He was not jealous, although Wu Crossing looked a little too good, but Du Guan was not the kind of girl who was crazy about handsome guys. Du Guan did not answer, but asked everyone, isn't this boy a student of our Xiandao Royal Academy? I haven't seen him. It shouldn't be. Yu Xianheng and others shook their heads. If he was a student of Xiandao Royal Academy, he would be so handsome and have such a good temperament. Even if they didn't know him, they would always have an impression after seeing him, but after thinking for a long time, they couldn't think of the other party. It should be the student who just joined Xiandao Royal Academy yesterday. Just when everyone was confused, Yi Lingling spoke up. She heard some news yesterday that it seemed that a student was admitted to Xiandao Royal Academy as an exception. Now seeing Zhen Minghu standing next to the other person, she thought it was this person. Chapter 17 Du Guan's Challenge. A student who just joined the academy yesterday? Hearing Yi Lingling's words, Du Guyan was slightly stunned. Now was not the day for the academy to recruit students, but the other party was able to join in as an exception. Either he had a background, or he was a genius. No matter which one it was, she was a little interested. Without thinking, she pointed at Wu Crossing and said, hey, what's your name? As the granddaughter of Poison Douluo, with such a big mountain behind her, Du Guyan's personality naturally seemed a bit strong, even in Xiandao Royal Academy. As long as she was interested in something, she would be straightforward. Wu Crossing, who was about to leave, after seeing the end of the competition, suddenly saw Du Guyan on the stage pointing at him. A hint of surprise emerged in his heart. Just as he was about to answer, Zhen Minghu on the side had already said it for him. Student Du Guyan, his name is Benalan. You may not know that he is a student who just joined the academy yesterday and is also a member of our team. Zhen Minghu's tone was very respectful. He was also a celebrity in Xiandao Royal Academy, but he was not good enough among the geniuses in the first team. Zhen Minghu, did I ask you? Du Guyan said unhappily. Zhan Minghu was embarrassed when he heard this, but he didn't dare to say anything more. He almost forgot that this goddess was not easy to get along with. Retracting his gaze, Du Guyan's eyes were back on Wu Crossing, and said, I'm asking you, didn't he just say that? Seeing Du Guyan's strong performance, Wu Crossing replied speechlessly. Du Guyan's face changed slightly. This new guy seemed to be very unimpressed with her. Then he said, you can join Xiandao Royal Academy as an exception. I think you are quite strong. Come up and spar with him? Spar? Wu Crossing was stunned. He knew Du Guyan's strong personality, but he didn't expect that the other party would ask him to spar with him. Yan. Hearing Du Guyan's words, Yu Xianheng on the side was a little confused. Even Yu Lingling, a good sister, was a little surprised. She didn't know what she was thinking. If you say you are curious, it doesn't seem like it. If you say you are angry with the other party, it's not. Although Du Guyan is usually a little strong, she won't be too excessive. Du Guyan waved to several people, looked at Wu Crossing, raised his eyebrows and said, why, you dare not? Of course not. Seeing Du Guyan's provocative eyes, Wu Crossing shook his head with a smile and said, you just finished sparring, and your soul power consumption is huge. If I win, it will be unfair. Hiss. Wu Crossing's words made everyone present startled at first, and then they took a breath of cold air. Isn't this new student too arrogant? Who is Du Guyan? She is the daughter of the Heaven Dao Royal Academy and the granddaughter of Bilin Dao Luo. Even if she has just consumed a lot of soul power, she is not so easy to deal with. And this guy in front of him seems to be very sure. How can he not surprise everyone? Even Zhan Minghu, who was standing next to Wu Crossing, was startled by his words, and looked at him in disbelief, as if to say, brother, can you not be so arrogant? Although your soul ring is against the sky, it is far from the soul power level of Du Guyan. How can you get away with it? Very good. It seems that you are very confident in your own strength. Du Guyan was also shocked by Wu Crossing's words. After a moment of silence, he smiled and said, I just don't know if your strength can match your appearance. I'm just telling the truth. Wu Crossing spread his hands and said calmly. Hearing Wu Crossing's arrogant words again, the many students watching were dumbfounded again. This guy is so arrogant. You must know that control type soul masters have a natural advantage in single combat. Even Yu Xianheng dared not say that he could beat Du Guyan. This kid in front of him was so confident. Could he really be a powerful soul master? On the field, Yu Xianheng and the others looked at each other and were also shocked by Wu Crossing's arrogance. They looked at Zhan Minghu with doubts. Looking at the sharp eyes of the few people, Zhan Minghu secretly groaned in his heart, and cold sweat slid down his forehead. Since you are so confident, I will recover a bit, so that it won't be considered unfair victory for you. At this moment, Du Guyan was also aroused by Wu Crossing's desire to win. After saying this, he took out a pill from his soul guide and threw it into his mouth, then sat down cross-legged and began to recover his soul power. Brother Benian, you. Zhan Minghu saw Du Guyan sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ring, as if he was going to face a big battle. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Although he recognized Wu Crossing's strength, he was not optimistic about winning against Du Guyan. The main reason was that the soul power levels of the two sides were too different, which could not be compensated by soul rings. Besides, Du Guyan also had a 10,000-year soul ring. If they had just sparred directly, there might be a chance, but now there is no chance at all. Before Zhan Minghu finished speaking, Wu Crossing had already waved his hand to interrupt, and then he jumped onto the ring lightly. Since his martial soul awakened, he had not sparred with anyone, and he was a little itchy. Since Du Guyan issued a challenge, he gladly accepted it. Yu Xianheng and the others were helpless to see Du Guyan recovering his soul power on the spot. They knew that Yan would not give up easily after making up her mind. They looked at Wu Crossing meaningfully before walking down from the ring. Time did not pass quickly. With the help of the soul recovering pill, Du Guyan quickly recovered all the soul power she had lost before. After all, she had just been sparring and had not gone all out. It was quite easy to recover. Du Guyan opened her eyes, stood up from the ground, looked at Wu Crossing with a bright look and said, I have fully recovered. Can we start? Yes. Wu Crossing nodded without any nonsense. Du Guyan, Martial Soul as Jade Scale Snake, Level 40 Control System Battle Soul Sect, please teach me. Du Guyan took a look and then bowed his hands to make a gesture of sparring. Seeing Du Guyan making a gesture of instruction, Wu Crossing followed suit and bowed his hands, saying softly, Origin, Spirit Blue Silver Grass, Level 31 Control System Combat Spirit Master. As Wu Crossing finished his self-introduction, the crowd in the audience exploded in an uproar. 3.31 Spirit Power. How dare this guy say he beat Goddess Yan? I thought this kid was so confident and was also a famous spirit master, but this is it? Haha, the most ridiculous thing is that this guy's spirit is still blue silver grass. Isn't blue silver grass a useless spirit? In addition to the exclamations of the onlookers, Yuxian Heng and others who heard Wu Crossing's information were even more staring at Wu Crossing on the field. They will never forget that 3 months ago, they fought with Shrek Academy in the fighting spirit field and lost to Tang San, who had the blue silver grass spirit. Boss, this kid also has the blue silver grass spirit. Xiamo opened his mouth wide with a look of shock. Yuxian Heng waved his hands, his eyes never leaving Wu Crossing's sight, as if he wanted to see through him. Du Guyan on the stage was also stunned by Wu Crossing's revealed martial soul, and after a long time, he asked word by word, your martial soul is blue silver grass? Yes, what's the problem? Wu Crossing smiled calmly. No. Thinking of the shame 3 months ago, Du Guyan gritted his teeth. Is this subject matter not watched by anyone? Chapter 18 Fight. As soon as the voice fell, Du Guyan took the lead. A ball of green light emerged from her palm. The green-scaled snake possessed her opened its huge fangs and spewed out towards the green light as the purple light of the third soul ring bloomed. In an instant, a thick fog rose with her as the center and spread out in all directions. The first move was the third soul skill. This, seeing Du Guyan's first move, was her special move. The students in the audience were shocked. Xiamo was even more worried and said, Captain, is the deputy captain too much? You have to know that this is just a competition, and Du Guyan's green-scaled snake venom is extremely poisonous. Ordinary soul masters will die if they touch it. Even the captain dare not touch it, let alone the kid on the stage with only level 31 soul power. Yuxian Heng was also ashamed. He knew that Yan'an should be stimulated by the opponent. It seems that she is still brooding over the failure 3 months ago. As his mind turned, Yuxian Heng quickly said to Yi Lingling beside him, Lingling, prepare to use the 9-hearted begonia. Yes. When Yi Lingling saw Du Guyan use the green-scaled snake poison, she was already prepared. If she saw something bad, she would take action immediately. After all, it was just a competition between students, and no accidents could happen. However, just as she stared at the stage to avoid any accidents, Wu Crossing also used his own martial spirit. A blue silver grass emerged from the palm of his hand. With the surge of soul power, circles of soul rings rose from under his feet. Black. 3 soul rings blooming with black halos, like fireflies in the dark. So bright, so outstanding. How is it possible? 10,000 year soul rings, and 3 of them. This guy actually has 3 10,000 year soul rings. Isn't he a soul master? When they saw the 3 black soul rings rising under Wu Crossing's feet, the crowd watching the scene all widened their eyes, as if they had seen a ghost, with a look of disbelief on their faces. Not only them, but even Yuxian Heng and Xiamo were stunned at this moment. If Du Guyan's 4th soul ring was a 10,000 year soul ring, everyone could barely accept it, but Wu Crossing's 1st soul ring was a 10,000 year soul ring, which was very shocking. Especially Yi Lingling, her heart was in turmoil. She and Du Guyan were able to successfully absorb the 10,000 year soul ring in the 4th ring, because of the magical opportunity of obtaining the diary copy, but how could the man on the stage also absorb the 10,000 year soul ring? And they were all 10,000 year soul rings. In the poisonous fog, Du Guyan also saw the 10,000 year soul ring rising from Wu Crossing's feet. Her whole body trembled, and her face showed an unbelievable look. She originally wanted to control the attack of the green scale snake, but at this moment, she stopped. How did you do it? Du Guyan swallowed for a long time and asked. Hearing Du Guyan's shocked tone, Wu Crossing smiled and said playfully, that's how you did it. Du Guan's heart beat violently, and then calmed down, and then said, "No wonder you were specially recruited into Shyandao Academy. You are really good, but it is nothing but a fool's dream to defeat me with this alone." Her green scale snake venom, even the Soul King would retreat, unless the opponent broke her poison formation, otherwise she would be invincible. And because of the clever cracking by Tang San 3 months ago, she asked her grandfather for advice on improving the poison formation of the third soul skill, and it was impossible to take shortcuts. That's why she was so confident, and sat on the diete. Really? Then you might be disappointed. Wuxing chuckled, and his indifferent look was retracted. First soul skill, entanglement. As Wuxing shouted softly, the first thing under his feet slowly bloomed with black light, and countless blue-silver vines quickly emerged from his palms. Seeing Wuxing use the first soul skill, Du Guyan and the poisonous fog subconsciously flashed a solemn look. As the saying goes, once bitten by a snake, you will be afraid of the rope for 10 years. Although she knew that her poison formation had been comprehensively improved under the guidance of her grandfather, she was afraid of being tied up by the blue-silver grass vines that suddenly appeared from the opponent. Although the poisonous fog was extremely toxic, the Soul Sect would be either dead or injured if it was touched, and even the Soul King would not be in a good situation. But if the opponent only attacked from a distance, her poison formation could not spread indefinitely, and the larger the spread range, the less toxic the poisonous fog contained. As a plant, the blue-silver grass has a certain resistance to poison, and the blue-silver grass with the addition of the opponent's 10,000-year soul ring is even more so. She must not be tricked by the opponent's long-range attack. Fortunately, she is in the poison array. Unlike other soul masters, she can easily see outside through the poisonous fog. Not only that, her perception in the poisonous fog has also improved by several percent. However, just when she was carefully guarding against the direction from which Wuxing's blue-silver grass vines would rush into the poisonous fog to attack her, she was dumbfounded the next second. After seeing countless blue-silver grass vines rushing out from his palm, they did not wrap around her, but trapped her tightly one by one, like a huge closed flower bud. Ah! Everyone who saw this scene dropped their jaws in shock. This guy wrapped himself up. Captain, what is he doing? Several people from the royal fighting team were also dumbfounded. They had never seen such an outrageous operation. Wrapping himself up. Yu Xianheng didn't understand what Wuxing was doing, and frowned. He didn't believe that the other party would entangle him for no reason. Look, the sky. Just as everyone was puzzled, Yi Lingling saw this huge bud, and a thick vine shot up into the sky, and came to the sky above the poisonous fog. As the vine unfolded, like a flower blooming, seeds emitting blue light fell from the sky, and fell into the poisonous fog. These seeds. Looking at the seeds falling from the sky, Du Guyan's pupils shrank in the mist. He was familiar with the scene in front of him. It was the same as when he fought with Tang San before. It was his third soul skill, spider web binding. I don't understand. This man's first soul skill is fine. How can the third soul skill be the same as Tang San? Even if it is blue silver grass, there will be differences if the soul rings that can be absorbed are different. It's a big mistake to be exactly the same. Although she was surprised, Du Guyan knew that she must not let the seeds fall in, otherwise when so many seeds all exploded, she would be wrapped up and unable to move. Soul power surged, and her fourth soul ring blossomed. The green-scaled snake king hissed towards the sky, and countless snake shadows emerged from around it, like thousands of snakes attacking, or rushing towards the falling seeds, opening their bloody mouths, and swallowing all the seeds into their stomachs. This is Yan'an's fourth soul skill. It's too strong. Looking at the countless green-scaled snakes pouring out, Yu Xianheng swallowed hard. In the previous sparring, Du Guyan never forced her to use it. Unexpectedly, this new soul skill is so terrible, and the number of green-scaled snakes is far beyond imagination. Chapter 19 Calculation. Countless seeds were swallowed by the green-scaled snake, and the intense poison instantly withered it. While the Guyan was dealing with the falling seeds, the blue-silver grass that originally wrapped Wuxing sprang out several huge vines, rushing towards the fog in several directions. You want to disturb my attention through the seeds in the sky? You underestimate me too much. Sensing the vines attacking from all directions, Du Guyan smiled softly. Her perception was greatly improved in the poison array, and it was impossible to sneak attack her. In addition, the opponent could not see the situation in the poisonous fog, so he could only rely on the vines to attack without any rules. On the other hand, she was not affected by vision, and she easily avoided these vines with a few jumps. After dodging the large vines that attacked continuously, it seemed that the opponent also discovered this. The vines no longer sprang out from the buds, and she stopped dodging her body and stepped in front of a withered vine. The soul power is almost exhausted. It's my turn now. Seeing that the vines stopped attacking, Guyan looked through the poisonous fog and looked at Wu Crossing, who was wrapped around her. A smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Her eyes never left there. However, she had to admit that the other party was very good. He knew that she could use poison and wrapped her up at the first time to avoid being poisoned. But the idea was good, but the reality was cruel. Although doing so could effectively resist her green scale snake venom, it also restricted herself. As long as she could not effectively control herself, and the subsequent attack methods could not keep up, she would become her living target. Second soul skill, double snakes. Guyan raised her hand slightly. Just as she was about to use the second soul skill to attack the huge bud, a voice sounded from behind her, making her whole body tremble. You lose. I don't know when. Wu Crossing has stood behind her, with a dagger in his hand on her neck. When Guyan turned around with difficulty and looked at the man with a smile on his face. She couldn't understand when the other party came behind her and how he escaped her perception. Wu Crossing did not answer Guyan, but said lightly, "Take back your poison mist first. I don't want to be contaminated for too long." Although the green scaled snake venom is ineffective against him, after all, he can use Guyan's soul skills, even the first 3 soul skills of Gubo, but outsiders do not know, and he does not intend to reveal too many cards. Guyan, who heard this, did not think much, and his soul power converged, and the entire poison mist dissipated. As the poison mist dissipated, everyone under the ring saw the situation in front of them clearly, and saw the dagger Wu Crossing hung on Guyan's neck, and they all looked at each other in bewilderment. They looked at the buds covered by the blue silver grass, and then looked at Wu Crossing, who appeared behind Guyan, and countless question marks appeared in their minds. When did this guy get close to the goddess? They never saw him come out of the buds from beginning to end. Can you tell me now? Guyan, who had withdrawn his soul power, turned around and stared at Wu Crossing and asked. Although she lost, and lost completely, she was shocked by the inexplicable loss. She had to figure out how the other party did it, otherwise it would be too uneasy. Just imagine, this is not a sparring match, but a real battle. She was attacked from behind, and had her neck cut in her home court. Anyone would feel horrified. Putting down the dagger, Wu Crossing pointed to the huge vine that had not been retracted under his feet, and said, "Look for yourself." Guyan looked at the thick vine behind her in the direction Wu Crossing pointed, and saw a hole in the vine. Seeing this, she immediately understood and was shocked. No wonder she couldn't find it. He actually came along the vine. I'm afraid no one would have thought that it could be operated this way, right? Wait, the other party entangled himself and scattered seeds from the air. All this was just a feint in order to get close to him and kill him with one blow? Guyan was shocked by Wu Crossing's wild imagination and suddenly thought of something. She widened her eyes and looked at Wu Crossing as if he was a monster. If that was true, the guy in front of her was really scary. It was already exaggerated to transport herself through vines, but he first made others think that she was always in the bud by entangled herself, and then made a huge vine to scatter seeds from the sky so that she got used to such a thick vine, and then distracted her attention. Finally, when she was concentrating on releasing spirit skills to the other party, she emerged from behind and killed him with one blow. This guy, his mind is too terrifying. It's simply impossible to guard against. I didn't lose unfairly, Guyan said slowly after calming down. When she faced Tang San before, she was very unconvinced and thought that the other party was opportunistic, but she was convinced by Wu Crossing. Thank you. Wu Crossing smiled and cupped his hands. The goddess lost. The deputy captain admitted defeat. Is this impossible? I must be dreaming. Hearing Guyan's words, the crowd in the audience exploded instantly. Who could have thought that Wu Crossing, who was level 31, actually beat Guyan? You know, in terms of single player ability, it is no exaggeration to say that she is the strongest in the entire Royal Academy. Even Yu Xianheng can't beat her. Now she lost to the student who just joined yesterday, and she is the sole master who is one level lower. Ignoring the surprised people and the shocked eyes of Yu Xianheng and others, Wu Crossing walked down from the ring and came to Zhen Minghu. At this time, Zhen Minghu hadn't recovered from the result until Wu Crossing stretched out his hand and shook it in front of his eyes, and then he shuddered. One. Wu Crossing nodded with a smile. Brother Benian, you are too strong. Zhen Minghu exclaimed, his face full of admiration. He never thought that Wu Crossing would win, but the facts were in front of him, and he couldn't help but believe it. It seemed that he won very easily. Zhen Minghu, who had already recognized the opponent, immediately added some weight to his heart. Okay, it's getting late, we should go back. Seeing that Zhen Minghu was about to say something flattering, Wu Crossing waved his hand to interrupt. Okay, Brother Benian. Seeing this, Zhen Minghu immediately nodded and left with Wu Crossing. He knew that after the previous competition, Brother Benian's name would spread throughout the academy, and he had to get closer to him. After Wu Crossing left, Du Guyan also walked down the ring. At this time, Yu Xianheng and others hurriedly stepped forward and asked with concern, Yang Iron, are you okay? Of course I'm fine. Du Guyan rolled her eyes before she could, and then looked at Wu Crossing's leaving figure. Hearing this, several people were relieved. As companions, they knew Du Guyan's character very well, and they were worried that the other party would not accept the loss. Now it seems that they thought too much. Until Wu Crossing disappeared, Du Guyan slowly said to the others, this man is very strong. We will have a rival from now on. Hearing this, Yi Lingling subconsciously looked in the direction where Wu Crossing disappeared, with a strange light flashing in her eyes. This was the first time that Sister Yan Iron, who was always proud and arrogant, could say such a thing. Chapter 20 Discovery. Wu Crossing returned to his dormitory under the compliments of Zhen Minghu. After the previous exchange, this guy almost became his loyal lackey. After saying goodbye to each other, he opened the door of the dormitory and walked into the room. Wu Crossing saw that Su Ruoxi had woken up. At this time, she was lying on the bed, and her bright and pretty face was still a little tired. Seeing Wu Crossing coming back, Su Ruoxi blushed and immediately covered her head with the quilt shyly. Looking at Su Ruoxi's actions, Wu Crossing was amused. This girl had eaten, but now she was embarrassed. Coming to the bed, Wu Crossing sat down on the bedside, stretched out his hand to lift the quilt, and saw that she subconsciously covered her face. Before he could do so, he joked, it's time to get up. If you don't get up, the sun will set. Hearing this, Su Ruoxi slowly loosened her hands. The charming look with her lips dripping with desire made Wu Crossing feel an inexplicable impulse, and he wished he could have a good fight with her again. He has dated several girlfriends in modern times, so he shouldn't be so impatient. However, the woman in this anime is so attractive. Even if she is just a minor character who appears for 1 minute, she is not comparable to the so-called goddesses of today. Looking at Wu Crossing's burning eyes, Su Ruoxi's originally red face turned pale in an instant. She was really worried that he couldn't control himself. If there was another fight, she wouldn't have to get up today. There was no way. This guy was too powerful. Her body was like falling apart. Fortunately, Wu Crossing knew that this girl was the first time, so he strongly suppressed the idea of eating him and said, get up. Yeah. Su Ruoxi breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this, and then she got up carefully. Looking at Su Ruoxi's cautious appearance, Wu Crossing couldn't help but smile and said, do you want me to carry you over? No. Su Ruoxi shook her head quickly, gritted her teeth to suppress her discomfort, and hurried into the bathroom. Seeing Su Ruoxi rushing into the bathroom, Wu Crossing laughed again, shook his head, and opened the system. He hadn't updated the diary today, so he took advantage of this free time to complete the task first. Hey, ladies, good afternoon. Nowadays, beauties have long been accustomed to watching diaries, and they flipped through them when he updated them. Seeing Wu Crossing's strong joy in the first line of words, they could imagine the guy's smirk, and were stunned. What could make him so happy? Ladies, is it strange that I'm so happy today? I have good news to tell you. I'm no longer single. No longer single? What is no longer single? All the women were stunned. After accepting this word annotation, their faces did not blush, and they spit at each other fiercely. How long has this guy been here? He found a girlfriend? Why so fast? Could it be that someone found him and offered himself to him? It's not surprising that they think so. As the owner of the diary copy, his future achievements are limitless, and there must be many women who have this idea. And through the understanding of Wuhun crossing these days, if a woman offered herself to him, this guy would definitely not refuse. This big pervert, it really pissed me off. He doesn't know how to keep himself clean. Ning Rangrang saw this and said angrily. As for Wuhun crossing, she was one of the people who had ideas. Apart from the fact that he was the owner of the diary, his innate level 30 soul power was enough for her to value him. Now that someone got there first, how could she be in a good mood? Ning Rangrang's angry look made Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking on the side dumbfounded, and a strange look flashed across their faces. As if she realized that her behavior was too abnormal, Ning Rangrang blushed and hurriedly explained to the two women, "Don't get me wrong, I'm angry because those women who have copies of the diary are really shameless, not because I like him." The two women naturally didn't believe Ning Rangrang's explanation. They were not stupid, and they had long felt that something was wrong with her. After all, every time the owner of the diary talked about some women, her reaction was the most intense. Today, she almost poured out the vinegar bottle. "Rangrang, you're not really interested in this guy, are you?" Xiao Wu couldn't help asking. How is that possible? Ning Rangrang's thoughts were exposed, and she immediately shook like a rattle, saying, "Who would like that big pervert? I just think he has such a good talent, and I want to bring him into the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, but now it seems that there is no chance, and he is bound to be recruited by another woman." Oh. Ning Rangrang's explanation was very reasonable, and Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking, who were still skeptical at first, believed it. They knew each other's identity. As the daughter of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, it was natural for her to consider the sect. Without saying anything more, the three women continued to read. "Of course, you can rest assured that she is not the holder of the diary copy. I still love you. All women, bar. In addition, I also met one of you today. Although she is amazing and beautiful, I was a little shocked. I have been receiving messy diary rewards for 4 consecutive days, and your rewards are so good. Baby is unbalanced. People who don't know think you are the owner of the diary. I'm just a worker." When the women saw this, they were shocked again. Has the owner of the diary seen one of them? And he knew that their rewards were very good. At this moment, the beauties from all over the world immediately pondered, but after thinking for a long time, they did not find any suspicious people they had contacted this morning. A dormitory in Xiandao Royal College. Guyan had returned to her room. After checking the diary update, she immediately found Yilingling again. When she saw the owner of the diary said that the other party had seen one of the diary women today, she was a little surprised, and then a figure appeared in her mind. "Sister Yan, do you think he is that person?" Yilingling asked solemnly. "Which person?" Guyan was slightly stunned, and she didn't react to who she was talking about. "It's the person who sparred with you this morning," Yilingling replied. Hearing this, Guyan was startled, and then said, "Are you talking about the origin?" "Yes." Yilingling nodded heavily. "Impossible. Didn't the diary owner say that he saw one of us?" Guyan shook her head. She and Lingling were two people. Seeing Guyan's denial, Yilingling continued, "But the other party deliberately guided it? You mean he deliberately only said one person?" Guyan was surprised. "Yes, Sister Yan. Think about it carefully. He is a soul master with 3 10,000-year soul rings. Have you heard of such a magical thing before?" Yilingling carefully analyzed to Guyan. Also, the owner of the diary was at level 30 of innate soul power a few days ago, and he was at level 31. The owner of the diary just entered the human gathering place yesterday, and he just joined the Xiandao Royal Academy yesterday. All of this, don't you think it's too coincidental? Yilingling is a thoughtful girl. If Wuhun Crossing hadn't said that she had seen one of them just now, she wouldn't have made the connection. But after the other party said this, she subconsciously thought of the man today. The more Guyan listened to it, the more he felt that this was possible, and his eyes became brighter and brighter. Then he stood up suddenly. Ling Ling, follow me. Where to? Yi Ling Ling paused. Of course, we are going to confirm this matter. Let's go find Zhen Menghu to verify it. Guyan said heavily, with a sly smile on his lips. If the guy he fought today was really the owner of the diary, then it was really a piece of cake to find it. Chapter 21 Inventory of Yu Xiao Gang. Wu Crossing was still writing furiously, but he didn't know that two women in Xiandao Royal Academy had doubted his identity and were looking for Zhen Menghu to verify his information. After complaining about the Gao system, I feel much better and my thoughts are clear. Let's talk about something else next. Let's talk about Yu Xiao Gang. I guess many people were curious about him last time. After all, this is about the Pope's melon, which can't be touched at any time. Beautiful Donja, I'm doing this for your own good. You don't mind, do you? You shouldn't do anything to me, right? Wuhan City, the Pope's bedroom. Bibi Dong slammed her jade hand on the table and said angrily, you are so good Wu Crossing, you dare to point fingers at this Pope. Don't let this Pope see you, otherwise this Pope will make you look good. She was very angry, and she wanted to peel Wu Crossing's skin off. Yu Xiao Gang is Yu Xiao Gang. Why are you so weird to involve this Pope? Bibi Dong could imagine that many women might be eager to see her show at this time. How could she, as the Pope, accept this? The most important point is that she felt socially dead when her daughter, who was far away in the Xiandao Empire, saw her. Damn guy, he kept saying that he was doing this for her own good. If he was doing this for her own good, how could he dig up her dark history for everyone to see? Lena, who was standing by, shuddered when she saw the teacher's biting look, but she couldn't help but look forward to it. Although it was a bit bad, she couldn't help it. Of course, she didn't dare to show any expression on her face. If she was thrown into the death canyon by the teacher, she would be finished. Yu Xiao Gang. This person was born in the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, but because his martial soul mutated into a useless martial soul Luo Sanpeo, he could never break through level 30 and was expelled from the family. At first glance, do you think this guy is quite pitiful? But then you should open your eyes and take a good look to see if he is worthy of pity. He was expelled from the family, and he had already hated the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. He joined the Spirit Hall, which had a bad relationship with the family. He said that he was committed to studying theoretical knowledge, but his purpose was just to use the huge background of the Spirit Hall to make his reputation on the mainland, so as to make everyone short-sighted towards the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. For this, he can be said to have no morals at all. He deceived the feelings of the beautiful Donja, who was still a saint at the time, and used her feelings to increase his influence. Later, he was expelled from the Spirit Hall, and he hated the Spirit Hall again, and took Tang San as his apprentice. You should know that, although he was expelled, the beautiful Donja remembered the old relationship, and did not dismiss his honorary elder status. But what did this guy do? He knew that the Spirit Hall had a conflict with the Haitian sect, but he cultivated people from the hostile forces. Poor beautiful Donja, you can only say that her heart was fed to the dog. After working hard to cultivate him, and using all kinds of resources for his own benefit, he turned out to be an ungrateful person. No, he is even more hateful than an ungrateful person. At least an ungrateful person does not appreciate the kindness of his master, but does not raise enemies to deal with him. What's more, it was the previous Pope who expelled him, and he had nothing to do with the beautiful Donja. On the contrary, the beautiful Donja defended him everywhere. Do you think such a person is an ungrateful person? Is he ungrateful? This Yu Xiao Gang is such a jerk, he is just a fence sitter. Seeing this, some beauties couldn't help but curse Yu Xiao Gang, the scumbag. Although the Spirit Hall is not friendly with the forces that some of them belong to, Yu Xiao Gang's behavior makes the women feel particularly disgusted, which is even more hateful than the double standard Tang San. Not only does he deceive women's feelings for his own purpose, but he also cultivates enemies to retaliate. Such a man deserves death. There must be something hateful about pitiful people. Yu Xiao Gang, this ungrateful person, uses those who can be used, and discards those who cannot be used. In his eyes, only his reputation is the most important. Especially ridiculous. This guy also said that there are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters. If you are not useless, you should rely on your own spirit to rise up, and use your own spirit to shut others up. Why do you take the resources given by the spirit hall as a matter of course, while doing things that harm the spirit hall? The title of the Golden Iron Triangle is also funny. The three people's spirit fusion skills can completely use Liu Erlang's Fire Dragon as the main force, so that the power released will be more powerful, but he chose to lead with his own spirit Luo Sanpeo, and his intentions can be imagined. Don't say you can't do it. Since the spirit fusion skills can be used, who will lead is not an easy thing. In a word, I hope that the beautiful Donja and the beautiful Liu Erlang can see the face of this guy clearly and stop getting involved in it and finally end up being hurt by love. Although I'm not a good person and I miss you all, I'm definitely not so heartless, nor will I get tired of the old and love the new. I'm sincere to everyone. If you are willing, you can consider me. Okay, let's stop here for today. My girlfriend is out. I'll leave first. See you tomorrow. As Wucrossing wrote the last line, the girls finished reading the diary he updated today. Ningrangrong, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zuking looked at each other, and finally their eyes fell on Yu Xiao Gang in front of them. They were all horrified. If it weren't for the owner of the diary, they would never have thought that the always gentle and elegant Master Yu Xiao Gang would be such a person. He actually did so many shameful things. It's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. In the Pope's bedroom, after reading Wucrossing's updated diary, Hulina was also shocked. She looked at the teacher with a completely dark face in fear, not knowing what to do. She didn't expect that her mentor, her most respected Pope, was actually deceived by a scumbag. If she had the chance, she would definitely make Yu Xiao Gang, who hurt her teacher, live a life worse than death. After reading these diaries with a moody mood, Bibi Dong's white hands clenched and relaxed continuously. After repeating several times, she suppressed the anger in her chest and said, Nana, pass the order to remove Yu Xiao Gang's status as an honorary elder in the Spirit Hall, and also order to investigate whether Tang San is from the Haoshan sect. Yes, teacher. Hulina heard the order and said happily. She was really worried that her teacher would not be able to get out of it. Now that she heard this order, she was also happy for her teacher. Yu Xiao Gang, you are so good Yu Xiao Gang. This Pope used to protect you so much, but I didn't expect that you would secretly retaliate against me. Originally, Bibi Dong still remembered some old feelings, but at this moment, all of them disappeared. She knew what the owner of the diary said as soon as she checked it, and she didn't have to worry about whether Wucrossing was true or false. At this moment, in the Xiandao Palace, Su closed the copy of the diary. Her eyes flickered a few times. She didn't care about what Yu Xiao Gang did. She just wanted to know why the woman ended up with her father, since she liked someone else. She had a strong feeling that as long as she knew the reason, she would understand why the woman disliked her so much. Thinking of this, Su picked up the paper and pen on the table and wrote carefully on it. When the pen fell, she folded it and sealed it in a bag, called a confidant, and asked him to pass the letter to her grandfather. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 System Upgrade. Ding, the host has completed a new diary entry and received a teleportation card. Teleportation card? What teleportation card? As the system rewards were issued, Wucrossing was stunned. He was used to the modern rewards of the past few days. Suddenly, he was a little unresponsive. Taking the card out of the diary warehouse, Wucrossing took a look and couldn't help but take a breath. Teleportation card. Permanent. You can specify any place in the current world for teleportation. You can only teleport once a day, and the number of times cannot be superimposed. Wucrossing, who saw the annotation of the teleportation card, kept saying, wow, guy. With this thing, where can he not go in the entire Douluo Continent? And this function is not as simple as it seems. If you are in danger, you can use this skill to escape at any time. It is equivalent to having a means of saving your life. The author no longer has to worry about my safety. Even if he encounters a powerful beauty, he doesn't have to be afraid of being caught by the other party. After all, some beauties are not easy to get along with. For example, Bibi Dong and Guyan Ringsu. Although he flirted with them in the diary, he was still very weak when he really had to face them now. But with this card, it's different. He doesn't have to worry about being found and imprisoned. If he sees that the situation is not good, he can escape at any time. Wuhun happily put the transmission card into the package. He was about to open the diary system to share his reward with those beauties. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded in his mind again. Ding, the host's diary has been updated for a week. The diary system has been upgraded. The current level is LV2. LV2 diary system. Open the following functions. 1. The friend column is open. Each diary holder needs to meet face to face to add a friend. After adding, the two parties can chat in real time, even if they are at the ends of the earth. 2. The upload function is open, not limited to screenshots, photos, videos, live broadcasts, etc. Only for the host. After listening to the system's prompts, Wuhun was stunned for a while, but soon came back to his senses. After all, he has read many similar diary novels, and knows that so many functions will be opened. It's just that he didn't expect the system to upgrade so quickly. However, it was upgraded after writing for a week. When will the next upgrade be? 1 month or a year? Wuhun is still very interested in this, because with the upgrade of the system, there will be more and more functions, which will be of great benefit to him. At the same time, the sound of the system upgrade also reached the minds of the girls. After learning about the function of the diary copy, they were much more surprised than Wuhun, especially those worlds with backward information transmission. The friend function was simply against the sky for them. Even in Douluo Continent, Bibi Dong and Guyan Ringsu at this moment immediately thought of multiple uses. With the friend function, they can communicate at the first time and know what major events are happening in the first time. There is no need to notify the execution plan in advance, avoiding accidents that may occur during the transmission. Just as everyone was amazed at the power of the friend function, Wuhun asked how long it would take for the system to be upgraded to level 3, but did not get any response, so he had to give up the idea. Opening the diary and finding the upload function, Wuhun sent the reward he had just received to it. Haha, ladies, we meet again. I was thinking of chatting with you tomorrow, but you must have heard the reminder of the system upgrade. So I'm online again to show you the reward I got today. After receiving the reminder that the diary was updated, the beauties subconsciously flipped through it, wondering how the diary owner could show up again. However, they all widened their eyes and stared at the card information for a long time. Is this reward so exaggerated? Didn't you just say that the reward given by the system was very lame? This is called lame. You probably don't know what you give us. When the women complained about Wuhun, subtitles appeared on the page of the diary copy again. Haha, with this card, I don't have to worry about safety issues in the future. I can run away if I can't beat them, and I don't have to be afraid of being found by one of you and imprisoned to restrict my personal freedom. Of course, I don't want that to happen. After all, I treat you all sincerely. Seeing what Wuhun said, some women showed a trace of embarrassment on their faces. Some of them did have this idea, but when the other party had this card, this idea disappeared. Then seeing Wuhun's sincere treatment, the women rolled their eyes. If you are sincere, why don't you show up? What does it mean to keep hiding yourself? Okay, I'll log off first. I came up here just to remind you all the beauties that the diary system has been upgraded. See you tomorrow. After reading it, the ladies were full of complaints in their hearts. You came up to remind us. Aren't you here to show off your versatiles? After secretly cursing, some beauties immediately began to explore the friend function after seeing that the diary copy did not show any text anymore, wanting to try whether it could transmit information remotely as the diary system prompted. On Wuhun's side, when he exited the diary system, Su Ruoxi also came out of the bathroom. After washing with hot water, her originally tired body was relieved, and she looked very beautiful. What makes you so happy? Su Ruoxi, who came out of the bathroom, looked at the joy on Wuxing's face, and couldn't help asking curiously. Wuxing looked at Su Ruoxi, and said with a smile, "Of course it's because of you." Hearing this, Su Ruoxi rolled her eyes at the other party, but her heart was as sweet as drinking honey. After all, women in love like to hear this the most, and they wish that the other party's heart is full of their own image. But what she didn't expect was that the guy in front of her was just flirting with a group of beauties in his diary. "Are you hungry?" Wuxing stood up and walked to Su Ruoxi, hugged her naturally, and asked with concern. It was almost afternoon now, and this girl had just lost her virginity. In addition, she had not absorbed any nutrients for the whole morning. Even a soul master couldn't bear it. Yeah. Su Ruoxi nodded her head lightly. She was indeed a little hungry. "Then let's go," Wuxing said with a smile, and then took Su Ruoxi's hand and left the room. Under Su Ruoxi's guidance, the two walked all the way to the college cafeteria, but they met some students on the way. Seeing the intimacy of the two, they opened their mouths one by one. Although Su Ruoxi's popularity in the college is not as good as do Guyan and Li Lingling, she is also a rare beauty. Naturally, there are many suitors. Now that she is taken, her heart is broken. Some girls are the same. Seeing such a handsome boy has a girlfriend, they are also very heartbroken. In addition, the news of the competition had spread throughout the entire academy, and few girls didn't know that a talented and handsome man had come to their academy. However, before they could even start, someone else got there first. One can imagine how disappointed they felt. Chapter 23 Identity Exposed. The canteen of Zhutian Academy is very large, with a rich variety of dishes. Moreover, since most of the students in the academy were born into aristocrats, it is open all day. After letting Su Ruoxi find a seat to sit down first, Wuxing went to the window to get food. This unintentional behavior made the other party feel a little sweet, and he felt that he had found the right person. After returning with 2 sets of tableaux full of dishes and placing Su Ruoxi's in front of her, Wuxing slowly sat down beside her. "What's wrong? Is there something on my face?" Looking at Su Ruoxi, who was staring at him infatuatedly, Wuxing said in a strange way, "No, no." Hearing Wuxing's words, Su Ruoxi came back to her senses and shook her head with a blushing face. Wuxing smiled slightly and didn't care about Su Ruoxi's expression and said, "Eat." "Yeah." Su Ruoxi nodded. It must be said that the food at Zhutian Royal Academy is rich and delicious, which is much better than the canteens of modern universities, and there will be no famous scene of handshaking. After the meal, the two were very satisfied. It would be better to say that they were full of joy rather than satisfied. After all, which handsome reader doesn't know that when you have just confirmed your relationship with your girlfriend, you can only see each other, even when you are having a meal? After resting for a while, when Wuxing was about to take Su Ruoxi back, 2 beautiful figures suddenly appeared at the entrance of the cafeteria. After the 2 beautiful figures came in, they first glanced around and then walked towards where Wuxing was. Wuxing was a little confused when he saw the 2 women who sat down in front of him and looked him up and down. Su Ruoxi, who was standing aside, was also stunned when she saw the 2 women. Then, she saw the 2 women sitting down without saying a word and staring at her man. While frowning, she hugged Wuxing's arm tightly. The 2 women in front of him were none other than Du Guyan and Li Lingling, who had just been verified by Zhen Minghu. Whether it was the encounter in the Sunset Forest a few days ago, the other party's diary, that he finally saw his kind, or the time when he walked out of the Sunset Forest and came to the human gathering place later, all the time matched, and then Su Ruoxi at this moment, when she said that she was no longer single, without exception, pointed to the other party as the owner of the diary. 2 beauties, what do you want to see me for? Wuxing was stared at by the 2 women and asked with a stiff face. The 2 women did not answer immediately. After looking at each other for a while, Du Guyan said playfully, "You made it difficult for me and Lingling to find you, Wuxing." When he said the word Wuxing, Du Guyan emphasized his tone, and a hint of pride appeared at the corner of his mouth. Wuxing. Wood Crossing was stunned at first, and then a look of horror appeared in his heart. How did the other party know his real name? He had never used his real name since he crossed over, and he had always called himself the Origin. Suddenly, Wood Crossing thought of something. Did the copy of the diary show his name? No, now is not the time to think about the name, but how the other party recognized him. How did you know? After thinking for a long time, Wood Crossing didn't feel that he had revealed his identity in the diary, so he asked in confusion. If he hadn't gotten the transmission card, he would never admit his identity, but now that he had a way to save his life, he admitted it generously. Seeing Wood Crossing admit his true identity, Guyan was stunned for a while, and then said, I thought you would never admit it. After all, according to the fear of death in this guy's diary, how could he easily admit that he was the owner of the diary? How could it be? You are not man-eating monsters. Since you have found me, why should I hide? Wood Crossing smiled dumbly. TSK, this doesn't fit your fear of death character. Guyan obviously didn't believe what Wood Crossing said. Yi Lingling chuckled when she heard Guyan's words, and joked, Sister Yan Iron, he probably got the teleportation card, so he dared to admit it. Wood Crossing's face turned red after being exposed, and he secretly sighed in his heart. What did these women eat to grow up? It's okay if they are beautiful, but why do they act so smart? He subconsciously glanced at the two women's breasts, which are not necessarily small. Wood Crossing's obscure gaze was naturally noticed by the two women, and a black line flashed across their foreheads. This guy's really as bold as recorded in the diary. If it's like this, it's okay, but what's too much is that he dares to be so unscrupulous when his girlfriend is still around. If she wasn't around, I'm afraid he would have taken action directly. Ahem. He coughed to ease the embarrassment in his heart, and continued to ask, you haven't told me how you recognized me yet. Guyan looked at Yi Lingling and said proudly, it's mainly because Lingling is careful, and found some clues in your diary. We followed the clues to find Zhen Minghu, and verified your identity. After saying that, Guyan told how Yi Lingling found the clues, and then found Zhen Minghu to verify the details. So, I'm shooting myself in the foot. I shouldn't have agreed to your competition. After hearing this, Wood Crossing wanted to cry, but had no tears. Who made you so arrogant? Guyan said with a smile. Wood Crossing was speechless. Who would have thought that you were all female Zhujiang, and you could associate so much with your soul rings? Sure enough, I still underestimated the people in the other world and thought I did it perfectly. Well, I was exposed the next day, after leaving the Sunset Forest. This slap in the face came so quickly. While Wood Crossing was sighing, Su Ruoxi was confused. She didn't understand a word of what he said. Wood Crossing, not admitting, not hiding, and the transmission card, etc. She wanted to interrupt, but she couldn't find a good opportunity, so she held back. You're really quick. Guyan squeezed Su Ruoxi when she found that she wanted to ask but couldn't interrupt. She knew Su Ruoxi. Although she was not very familiar with her, she knew that she was a popular beauty in their college and had many suitors. She didn't expect that this guy in front of her would be taken down by the other party not long after she came here. It's outrageous. If the other party is the holder of the diary copy, it is understandable. The problem is that this is not the case. This makes people have to sigh at the other party's means of pursuing women. Being teased by Guyan, Wood Crossing was not embarrassed, but said smugly, that's right, don't you see who I am? It's easy to catch. How can you be so thick-skinned? Guyan and Yi Lingling were dumbfounded when they heard this, and then rolled their eyelids. Is it thick? You haven't seen thicker ones. Wood Crossing complained in his heart. As the saying goes, if you don't have a thick skin when chasing girls, you will become someone else's. Thinking in his heart, Wood Crossing smiled again. You can do it too. Pa. Hearing Wood Crossing's meaningful words, Guyan and Yi Lingling's eyes widened instantly, and then they both pouted. Wood Crossing. They have never seen such a shameless person. If they didn't consider that the other party was the owner of the diary, they might have picked up the scissors and cut him off, so as to avoid harming women everywhere in the future. Chapter 24. Guyan was played badly. Suppressing the impulse in her heart, Guyan stretched out her hand and spread it to Wood Crossing. What? Wood Crossing asked in surprise when he saw Du Guyan's strange behavior. Of course it's the magic grass. Du Guyan rolled her eyes and said directly, "Where's the money?" Wood Crossing also stretched out his hand to ask for it. "No money," Du Guyan said confidently. Wood Crossing's eyes widened immediately and he couldn't help laughing. "What magic grass do you want? If you don't have money, you still dare to ask me for money?" Du Guyan looked at Wood Crossing in disbelief, as if to say that you still have the nerve to ask me for money. What's there to be afraid of? You are not my woman. Wood Crossing waved his hand. Although you are the holder of the diary copy, you can't talk without money unless you promise to marry me. Du Guyan's face darkened instantly when she heard this. She was so angry that she stood up straight. She shouted angrily, "I haven't settled accounts with you yet, but you are getting more and more greedy. Those fairy herbs originally belonged to my grandfather." Last time when Wood Crossing mentioned her grandfather in her diary, she made a big joke in front of the students and teachers. Later, she found her grandfather and asked him about it. Only then did she know that those fairy herbs were planted by her grandfather. When her grandfather found out that the fairy herbs were stolen, he almost left in anger. Now, she didn't tell her grandfather who stole them. In fact, the copy of the diary didn't allow her to talk about Wood Crossing, and she had to pay for a few plants. Your grandfather doesn't know the use of the fairy herbs. Leaving them there will only make the treasure covered in dust. I picked them out, and your grandfather should thank me for giving the treasure its due value. Facing Du Guyan's rebuke, Wood Crossing didn't care at all, and showed his shamelessness to the fullest. Du Guyan was so angry that she almost laughed when she heard Wood Crossing's words. She had seen shameless people, but she had never seen such a shameless person who stole other people's things and thought that the other party should thank him. Believe it or not, I will go to my grandfather now and let him thank you. Du Guyan gritted her teeth and said, "That would be great." Wood Crossing smiled. "You." Seeing Wood Crossing's dead pig fearless look, Du Guyan was completely helpless. She couldn't beat him, and she couldn't talk him out of it. Could he really go to her grandfather? She was not stupid. As the owner of the diary, Wood Crossing could only befriend him and not offend him. How could she be so stupid as to call him grandpa? Du Guyan, who was being driven crazy by Wood Crossing, wanted to find Yi Lingling to judge the matter, but she saw her good sister chuckled beside her, which made her feel even worse. Noticing Du Guyan's look, Yi Lingling quickly put away her smile and said, "Sister Yan Iron, Wood Crossing is teasing you." Through simple communication, Yi Lingling already knew Wood Crossing's character and understood that he was just teasing her good sister, not unwilling to give her the magic grass. "Tease me?" Du Guyan said in a daze. Looking at Du Guyan, who was still silly, Wood Crossing stopped teasing her and said, "With your brain, no wonder you can't even get a root of magic grass in the original book. You deserve to be at all like your grandfather." "What do you mean?" Du Guyan, who had finally calmed down, was once again furious at Wood Crossing's words. Okay, I'll give you the magic grass." Wood Crossing found a magic grass suitable for the other party's martial soul from the diary warehouse, took it out, and then placed it in front of her and said, "This magic grass is called Bian snake grass, which is just right for your martial soul. Remember to find a quiet place before absorbing it." Du Guyan, who was still furious, saw Wood Crossing take out the magic grass, and then looked at the table carefully. She was quite curious. This magic grass really has such a great effect. It can improve the soul level and evolve the martial soul. Except that it is more beautiful than ordinary flowers. There is nothing strange about it. You didn't lie to me, did you? Is this really a magic grass? Didn't you pick it casually to perfunctory me? Du Guyan, who couldn't find the strangeness of the magic grass for a long time, said suspiciously. Wood Crossing rolled his eyelids and said unhappily, "Do you want it?" "Of course." Du Guyan heard it and immediately put the magic grass into her storage soul guide, fearing that this shameless guy would take it back. Watching Du Guyan's actions, Wood Crossing was speechless for a while. Then he looked at Yi Lingling and said with a smile, "You have to spend money. I'm ready." Yi Lingling seemed to know what Wood Crossing would say and took out a card from the soul guide. This is a gold card that is universal in the whole continent, and it contains 100,000 gold coins. Seeing Yi Lingling slowly taking out the gold soul card and pushing it in front of his desk, Wuhun was slightly surprised. This woman is a bit unusual. First she saw through his identity, then she helped Du Guyan out, and now she took out the gold soul card, as if she had expected him to say so. Lingling, why did you give this guy money? Du Guyan, who was standing aside, saw that her good sister really gave the other party 100,000 gold soul coins, and couldn't help but said angrily, "This is what I should do." Yi Lingling replied with a smile. Wuhun could give Du Guyan the fairy grass, because the fairy grass was planted by her grandfather, but she couldn't. Of course, the most important thing is that she doesn't want to owe Wuhun a favor and leave an impression of being a cheapskate. Besides, 100,000 gold soul coins are really not a big deal for her. This is not nonsense. With the 9-hearted begonia martial soul, she can earn a lot of money by treating the injured casually, and the cost is just a loss of soul power. It is no exaggeration to say that, as long as Yi Lingling is willing, many soul masters will rush to give her money. She is definitely a white, rich and beautiful woman. Wuhun, who received the gold soul card, immediately handed it to Su Ruoxi, who was still in a daze. After a long time, she came back to her senses and said, "Ben. Wuhun, what are you doing with this gold soul card?" Although her head is still buzzing, through the conversation of several people, she knows what shocking secrets her man is hiding, and the name of origin is just a fabrication to hide his identity. "I'll give it to you for safekeeping," Wuhun said with a smile. "You are a generous guy." Seeing Wuhun, who had just received the gold soul card, immediately stuffed it into Su Ruoxi's hands, Du Guyan felt a little jealous. She didn't know why she felt jealous, maybe because this guy's attitude towards her and Su Ruoxi were two extremes, which caused a comparison, rather than jealousy. "That's right, Ruoxi is my woman. If I don't treat her well, how can I treat you well?" Wuhun said as a matter of course. Du Guyan, who heard this, had a big pound sign on his forehead. This dog food was really unexpected. A weird guy. He cursed in his heart, and suddenly thought of something. His eyes lit up slightly, and Du Guyan said to Su Ruoxi, "Sister Ruoxi, you have to keep an eye on him. This guy is very fickle." Wuhun saw Du Guyan trying to sow discord between him and Su Ruoxi. His face darkened, and he said, "Du Guyan, if you don't know how to speak, don't say it. Be careful, I will sue you for defamation. Can you swear that you don't have any feelings for me?" Du Guyan didn't care about Wuhun's threat at all, and deliberately straightened his panda after speaking. "So big, so round, so strong." Well, Wuhun was talking about the other party's bluefish scale armor, which is definitely not what you think. Chapter 25. The diary is actually connected to Zhangman. "You are really good at flattering yourself. Have I ever mentioned you?" Wuhun looked away inconspicuously and looked at Du Guyan, who was feeling good about herself. He couldn't help curling his lips. If he remembered correctly, he had written so many copies of the diary, but he never expressed his thoughts about her alone. Wuhun's words made Du Guyan very angry, but she couldn't refute it. The other party did not mention her specifically, but the 3 beauties of the spirit hall and the 3 beauties of Shrek were always on his lips. Especially the 3 beauties of the spirit hall. This guy never stopped mentioning them in every diary. As for Bibi Dong, who was the Pope, she had naturally heard of her, but the Pope was not young, right? He was almost as old as the other party's grandmother. Thinking that the guy in front of her likes mature women like that, she seems to have found a way to fight back. She raised her eyebrows and said, "I know, you just like old women. I understand, I understand." Wuhun was a little confused by Du Guyan's words. What old woman? What do you understand? Could this girl be confused by herself? But she soon understood, and a strange smile suddenly appeared on her face. She exclaimed, "You are so brave. You dare to say Donja is an old woman." Seeing Wuhun speechless, Du Guyan thought she had turned the tables, but the next second, seeing the other party's playful expression, she instantly felt a very bad feeling all over her body. Sure enough, the other party's next words made her shudder. She denied it repeatedly in fear. I didn't say that. This is what you said. Don't talk nonsense, or make up nonsense." At the end, Du Guyan's voice became a little sharp. She knew that the copy of the diary written by this guy would most likely be seen by the Pope. If this was written, even her grandfather would not be able to protect her. TSK, are you scared now? Looking at Du Guyan, who jumped up in fear, Wood Crossing showed a playful smile again. Du Guyan pointed at Wood Crossing and wanted to say something, but found that she didn't know how to clear herself at all. She was so anxious that she almost cried. Seeing Du Guyan being completely controlled by Wood Crossing, Yi Lingling felt helpless. As a good sister, she had to stand up and said, Wood Crossing, don't tease Sister Yanan anymore. She is straightforward and has no bad intentions. She can't stand your teasing. Seeing Yi Lingling's words, Wood Crossing stopped teasing Du Guyan, but focused his eyes on her and said with a smile, so, you can do it? Seeing Wood Crossing looking at her with burning eyes, Yi Lingling's face blushed slightly. Although she had a calm and elegant personality, she couldn't stand Wood Crossing's bold gaze and said, Wood Crossing, don't joke with me. I have something to tell you. Oh. Wood Crossing was stunned when he heard this. Then he put away his thoughts and asked curiously, what is it? The most intuitive impression of a person is the communication when they first meet, and Yi Lingling gave him the feeling of a girl who was smart, sensible, and knew how to advance and retreat. Although she was not very old, she had the demeanor of a lady from a noble family. Facing such a girl, he naturally couldn't use the method he used to deal with Du Guyan to deal with her, so after she finished speaking, he stopped joking. Do you know that many women can see the diary copy? Seeing Wood Crossing getting serious, Yi Lingling was relieved. If he continued, she would not be able to bear it. Yeah. Wood Crossing nodded, but he was a little confused. With the other party's intelligence, he shouldn't ask unnecessary questions. Then do you know that this diary copy, in addition to our world, there are women in other worlds who can see it? Yi Lingling continued to ask. After a week of diary updates, she was meticulous and found that the other party seemed to talk about things in their world and never mentioned other worlds. This may be because the other party is in the Douluo world, but it is also possible that the other party does not know. If it is the first one, it doesn't matter, but if it is the second one, she feels it is necessary to talk to Wood Crossing. In addition to her curiosity about the difference between other worlds and the Douluo world, the more important thing is that, if Wood Crossing doesn't know, she can just use this topic to build a good relationship with him. What? Wood Crossing's pupils shrank slightly after hearing Yi Lingling's words, and he asked in disbelief, why would you ask that? Seeing Wood Crossing's reaction, Yi Lingling knew that she had guessed correctly and then told him about the rewards for diary holders one by one. The more Wood Crossing listened, the more surprised and unbelievable he became. He thought he was standing in the atmosphere and had already seen through the routine of the Gao system, but now he found himself only in the underground layer. Who do you know? After a moment, Wood Crossing, who had received the information, asked again. According to the information I have received so far, there are the Snow Moon Sword Fairy Li Hanai from Youth Song, the Light Bearer Fandi from the world of the Cage of Spirits, the Holy Keisha from the world of Heroes, the Willow God from the Perfect World, the Ruthless Emperor from the world of the Shroud of Heaven, the Tsunade from the world of Naruto, and Jingwei from the world of the Legend of Qin who just appeared today. The above are the women I learned about through the diary rewards. After Yi Lingling finished speaking, she looked at the other party quietly. She didn't know whether this news was important to Wood Crossing. After listening to Yi Lingling's description of the reward holders, Wood Crossing was dumbfounded and didn't come back to his senses for a long time. Good guy, he exclaimed. Good guy. The system actually played such a big game, and he was stunned. These women in his original world were all characters in popular anime. No wonder the first day's cheating prompt was ZHU Xianzong Man Diary System, which is to catch all anime in one fell swoop. Although only 7 worlds are displayed for the time being, which is a bit far from all the Zongman, he knows that this is because he has only written 7 diaries, and there will definitely be subsequent Zongman worlds. And what shocked him the most was that some of the women among them were all heaven-defying existences, and they even had their own diary copies. He was a little worried that these women would find him through the system. But so many days have passed, I think it should be impossible. Otherwise, with the terrifying means of the Ruthless Emperor, he would have come to investigate his identity long ago. But then he thought about it, and Wu Crossing frowned again. If the diary system is connected to the heavens and the worlds, it will definitely not be as simple as writing a diary, otherwise it will not be distributed to those women. I don't know what my golden finger is going to do. He hasn't even established a firm foothold in Douluo Continent, but I've given him such a big surprise, intimidation. Wu Crossing didn't say anything, and all kinds of thoughts flashed through his mind. Yi Lingling looked at him and saw that he didn't respond for a long time and subconsciously asked, Wu Crossing, what's wrong with you? No, nothing. I'm a little panicked now. I have to adapt first. Wu Crossing recovered and waved his hand to show that he was fine. A little panicked? Yi Lingling couldn't help but be stunned, not understanding why the other party suddenly withered. Although this guy always said in his diary that he was afraid of death, she knew that he was not really timid. After all, in her opinion, who dared to disrespect the Pope? But the other party dared to tease him. And now that Wu Crossing heard the women he mentioned, the panic he showed didn't seem to be fake. If Wu Crossing knew what Yi Lingling was thinking, he would definitely teach her a good lesson and let him know what great power is. He dared to flirt with the beautiful Donja in his diary because she couldn't find him. Even if she did, it would take time. Even if he was caught and used as a tool, he was confident that he could still escape. But facing some of the women mentioned above, even if you have a teleportation card, it will be useless. They can manipulate the long river of time. If you appear in their world, they can lock your position and appear in front of you in a minute. No, every second. I just want to ask you if you are afraid or panic. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.